celebrating our 20th year together. This is the National Football League on NBC. Today, from Veterans Stadium, it's the New England Patriots versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Today's game is brought to you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. By Bud Light, the less filling light beer with the first name in taste. And by Manville. Manville quality products make your house a home.
Oh, what a gorgeous day in Philadelphia. Sunny skies, an unseasonable 48 degrees. A very pleasant good afternoon to you, everybody. I'm Phil Stone, along with Dave Rowe. You know, the term must win is a somewhat hollow cliche this time of year. But as far as the New England Patriots are concerned, Dave, it is either beat Philadelphia today, or like the Eagles, they too won't have to worry about the playoffs messing up their holiday season.
That's true, Phil, but they do have life. If they win their last two games and the Raiders lose their last two games, they will be in the playoffs, but they have got to protect Tony Eason. He's been sacked 24 times already this season. They have to protect him if they're going to win, or else they're going to be home singing the same song, I'll Be Home for Christmas.
And, of course, when you talk about the New England Patriots, you're talking about Tony Eason. As Dave said, he's been down 24 times in his last 3 games. But when he is on his feet, he is one of the very finest in the AFC. In fact, the 3rd best in the American Football Conference. And when he likes to put it up, he loves to go to the speedster out of Tennessee, Stanley Morgan. Stanley Morgan averaging 19 yards a catch in 1984.
But he's been kind of quiet the last 2 or 3 games. They have got to get the ball also to Stanley Morgan if they want to win today. It's an awfully big game for the New England Patriots.
And it is not such a big game for the Eagles. Here's a club that has been out of the playoff race roughly since training camp. They've got a quarterback by the name of Joe Pisarcik who's coming on only his 2nd start, Dave, since 1979.
It is his 2nd start, but the thing that we're going to see this year that's really interesting is we're seeing that Wilbert Montgomery is playing a different role. This year, he's the role of a receiver, whereas in the past, he's been a 6,000-yard rusher. And when you think of the Eagles, you've got to think of Quick scoring, and scoring too, Mike Quick, the leading receiver in the National Football Conference last year. He's back this week. He's healthy, and it's going to be interesting to see how many times they can get the ball to him.
Indeed it will, Dave. And I'll tell you one thing. The New England Patriots have got to win. And the man on the right, Raymond Berry, under a lot of pressure to get it done here in 1984. They need a couple of victories. Marion Campbell, on the other hand, last year his team was 5-11, finished dead last in the NFC Eastern Division. And he is faced with an identical situation here in 1984.
But the Eagles feel that they've turned a corner, Phil. They feel that their defense has really come alive. They've really played well the last few weeks. If they can get their offense rolling, they think that they're not that far away from being a contender.
Paul McFadden, the last kicker taken in the draft a year ago, is all set to boot it away for the Eagles. The barefoot kicker lets it fly. It is Collins at the 10-yard line. And he is rolled out of bounds at the 28, and that is a problem, Dave, that Paul McFadden has had all year long, the inability to get the ball into the end zone.
I don't know how they kick off in this cold weather with those bare feet. Both kickers today are barefooted kickers, and I was down on the field. That field is cold. Even though it's 48 degrees, it's cold here, Phil.
There you look at the Patriots. An offensive line that, boy, has had some big problems this year.
They certainly have. They've had a lot of dissension, a lot of problems, but they really feel that they're coming together also. These teams are teams of the future. They want to build for next year. They both want to win late in this season.
James caught at the 26-yard line, and leading the charge is the nose tackle out of Syracuse, Kenny Clark.
I thought he was going to get the handoff. He was in there so fast. Wow, did he come off the ball?
Here's a look at the way the Patriots will come at the Eagles. Eason at quarterback, the running backs, James and Ramsey, the wide receivers, Stephen Starring, Stanley Morgan, and the tight end, Big Lynn Dawson. The offensive line, one that has been full of holes, Holloway, Hannah Morris, Wooten, and Darrell Haley. 2nd down and 12. Eason looks left, now going right. And he's got a receiver out of bounds at the 43-yard line, and it is the man we spoke of a moment ago. Stanley Morgan has got to get involved today.
He certainly does have to get into the play, and he does it automatically, a 30-yard catch. What was really interesting, let's watch Eason here. He looks off to his right. He's going to throw right there. All of a sudden, he comes back, looks off the receiver really well, and dumps over top of the coverage. This is a very good pass to start, and they've got excellent field position on the, 45-yard line.
And it will be officially spotted inside the 44 at the 43. So a big first down for New England. the gut near the 41-yard line goes Greg James. He is rolled under by Joel Williams.
Well, James really directs the crowd. Everybody's after him being that one back.
Here's a look at the Eagles defensively. Good front three, Harrison, Clark, and Brown. They've got over 30 sacks amongst the three of them. The backers, Wilkes, Robinson, Anthony Griggs, Joel Williams. The defensive secondary, Wilkes, Robinson, Griggs, and Albert Fowles. It is 2nd down and 8 at the 40. Start left, misdirection. James has it to the 35 on his feet, inside the 20 and down there. Albert Fowles, the corner on the left side, stopped James, but only after a gain, David, of 24 yards.
Well, he had a 73-yard run last week. Greg James, number 32. Watch the misdirection now. He misdirects right there. Now watch this cutback. That's what makes him a great receiver. That's why they wanted him out of the USFL. A 24-yard run. Watch the tail end of this. He just refuses to go down. Doesn't look like a team that's not going to the playoffs to me.
Well, they can still make it, but they'll need all the help they can get from the Raiders. Again, oh, this time James met right at the line of scrimmage by Ken Clark again. Clark's 2nd tackle of the ball game.
Well, Guy Morris is going to have his hands full, number 75, the center. He's coming in here playing against an excellent nose tackle, Ken Clark, number 71, and we've already seen him twice in the backfield. So, Guy, you're going to have your hands full today playing against him.
Now the Eagles also have an exceptional defensive secondary. Fowles, Edwards, Ellis, and Wes Hopkins. You look at Ellis and Hopkins, they call them the Jesse James gang around Philly. 2nd down and 9. James will try the right side, trying to get outside. And he is chased out of bounds at the 10. Jerry Robinson, the inside linebacker on the left side, 6th-year out of UCLA, runs James out of bounds.
Bill, as you said, the Eagles have got great pursuit. The thing that is going to work today, it seems, for the Patriots already is that cutback. They're just not going to be able to get outside. They've got to use that cutback. They pursue so well to the play. They've got to use that cutback where they cut back underneath the pursuit, and they get that big run, just like Craig James did on that 24-yard run.
We've played less than 3 minutes in this ball game. Already James 5 carries for 30 yards. To Tupu and James. Now 2 setbacks. That's Mosi. And Tupu slams his way to the 8-yard line.
Going to bring up a big play right here because they have got to come up. They're either going to kick a field goal. It's 4th down. Looks as if it's going to be about 1.5 yards. I almost feel they have to kick a field goal. And wait till you hear this crowd react to Tony Franklin coming in here.
Well, the boos are for Tony Franklin, the New England kicker, who spent years here with the Philadelphia Eagles ball club. And he left Philadelphia last year with much the same sentiments.
Well, he certainly did, but he really has found himself in New England. They're very satisfied with him. He's had a tremendous year, and they don't think his foot stinks in New England.
A 24-yard attempt. Eason puts it down. Franklin lets it sail, and he is perfect. Tony Franklin, his 19th field goal in 24 attempts, and he stakes the Patriots to a 3-0 lead with 11:19. Now there's Tony Franklin.
I bet you if you're a field goal kicker this kind of weather, you'd hate to have an ingrown toenail. Oh, boy. How's that for a graphic? 10 consecutive field goals he's made. Doesn't sound like they should have gotten rid of him here in Philadelphia, huh?
Yeah, they've got a good one there, though, in New England. Franklin unable to compress the ball. It is taken by Andre Waters near the 10. He's out across the 25 and smothered there at the 27-yard line. So both kickers, I think, Dave, will find it very difficult to compress the ball because it is rather chilly.
Well, the ball is much harder when it's cold like this. It really does. You don't get that soft ball where you really get your foot into the ball. It's much harder. It's going to be much harder to throw the ball when it's in 40-degree weather. Of course, we all know that as it gets colder, it's harder to throw. You can see Pisarcik there, number 9, trying to warm those fingers up, sticking them down in the front of those pants, trying to get some heat.
Well, as I said at the top of our show, for Pisarcik, only his 2nd start since he was with the New York Giants. He started last week. To recall, Ron Jaworski went out with a broken leg 2 weeks ago. From from the 28-yard line. The Eagles first look at the ball. Play action. Pisarcik going right over the top for Mike Quick, who was wide open at the midfield stripe. And Pisarcik simply overthrew his open receiver.
Well, he knows he overthrew him. He's a little bit upset with himself because that was a seam pass. He was right in the seam, and he just came right on down, and he really should have dropped it in there. How about those offensive backs? Pisarcik, Montgomery, great players.
And the receivers, Jackson, Quick, Spagnola, the offensive line. It's a good one. Miraldi, Kenny, Mark Dennard, Baker, Leonard Mitchell. On second down and 10, Tony Woodruff is now in the ballgame. 3 wide receivers for Philadelphia. Pisarcik with time. This time he hits Quick, and Quick is quickly upset by Roland James.
Bill, we talked about how quickly they have to get the ball. You said quick to quick, and they're immediately come out and they've established that they're going to pass the ball against this Patriot team. They're going to be 3rd down and 1, so it looks as if it's going to be a run here. But they've come out the first 2 plays, they've thrown the ball, and they both times have gone to Mike Quick. He is a very integral part in their offense. If they don't get him into the offense, they just cannot move the ball.
Now the defensive line, Sims, Owens, Williams. You look at the linebackers, a good group there for the Patriots. 3rd down and short. They give through the left side. A flag is down. Hubie Oliver is very close to the first down, but hold on a moment. Probably offensive holding.
No, I believe it's going to be offsides. Yep, he's telling you it's illegal motion. It looked as if it was on Miraldi or Kenny, one of the people on the left side. It was either the guard or tackle got off just about a half a second too fast.
Well, instead of 3rd down.
It's an interesting call, though, Phil, because they're going to come in and probably measure the ball to see if he made the first down. If he makes the first down, then they'll refuse, they'll accept the penalty. If they don't make the first down, then, of course, they'll let the play go.
Well, it would force a punting situation for the Eagles.
Oh, is it going to be close?
It is a first down. So now you see the defensive captain, Steve Nelson, say, hey, back the ball up 5 yards. Let's listen.
Illegal motion, number 64 on the offense, still 3rd down.
That is the referee, Red Cashin. So they'll back it up now to just inside the 31-yard line. And the Eagles will be faced with 3rd and about 5.5.
This is where they really love to go to Spagnola. He's been so effective in this short range, just 8 to 10 yards. He's already has 60 catches for the year, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him go to him immediately.
3rd down, they're calling it 6 from the 31. Out of the shotgun. Quick. And he did not run a pattern that would get the first down. And that a big, big mistake by Mike Quick.
It certainly was. He should have gotten at least the first down yardage before he did that curl. He didn't get the first down yardage. Immediately he caught the ball and was dropped back. That's a mistake that he should not make.
So on 4th down and 3, Michael Horan, first year out of Long Beach State. He's a left-footed kicker, and back at his own 24-yard line is the rookie out of Nebraska, Irving Fryer. His 84th punt of the year, end over end, not a good punt. Fryer on the run, and it will go out of bounds inside the 25, near the 24. So the Eagles will give up the ball. The Patriots offense is coming on following the 41-yard punt. 9 minutes, 34 seconds to play, first quarter, Veterans Stadium. That is our situation. Likewise at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, where Cleveland is out in front of the Steelers 3-0. First down, New England. That is James, and he is across the 26 near the 27-yard line and stopped there.
If they're going to be successful, they being the Patriots, Guy Morris has got to control number 71, Ken Clark. You can see Clark stands him up here, really overruns the play. They have got to run that play back behind him because Ken Clark is really getting to the ball. Now, Guy Morris has played against him an awful lot in practice, having been here with the Eagles, so that should be quite a matchup today. The talent of an old veteran against the strength and youth of a young rookie. Well, he's not really a rookie, but he's a young player.
It is in his first year. Eason looking sideline, Morgan, and overthrows Stanley. Coverage on the play by Herman Edwards, 8th year out of San Diego State. This telecast is presented by authority of the NFL. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Philadelphia Eagles and the National Football League is prohibited.
Absolutely prohibited.
You know that for a fact?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, I was watching Easton that time, and you have to be impressed with his statistics. He has to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Touchdown to interception rate, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He is having an excellent year.
3rd and 6, Eason with plenty of time. And then the pocket falls.
Oh, boy. 24 sacks in the last 3 games. We talked about it. And here's the first one of this game. It's 25 now in the last 4 games. But the pocket really didn't really collapse around him. The so-called usual pocket where you just drop back. He rolled on that to try to get away from the pressure. Just couldn't find anyone open. And really just had to take the ball down. But look at that, 48 sacks, a new team record. Their front 7 players are really playing together. As you said, 31 sacks between the front 3 players. That's tremendous.
Rich Camarillo will kick it away for New England. Yvonne Cooper, rookie out of Michigan, is the single safety. And the punt is almost blocked. Camarillo gets off a beauty, fielded at the 40. And out of bounds goes Cooper. Just shy of the midfield stripe. A 41-yard punt, a 10-yard return, and the Eagles will have the ball near the midfield line. Tremendous field position with 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first period. It's the Patriots on top of Philly, 3-0. Philadelphia with their second offensive series about to begin. Joe Pisarcik, really the only quarterback with any experience at all in uniform today for the Eagles.
Well, the loss, of course, Jaworski was really devastating. Pisarcik has played a backup role mostly during his career.
And he wants to put the ball in the air. Time, going deep. It is Woodruff.
Just when you say Joe Pisarcik has played a backup role, he throws a starting quarterback pass. This is as fine a pass as you can throw. You'll see he lays it up over top of the shoulder. What a great catch and a great throw. You just can't throw the ball any better than that. I don't care where you play football. And look who he beat. Probably the best defensive back, Ray Claiborne, number 26. He is the man that really solidifies their defensive secondary. He's the one that you're not supposed to attack.
A 38-yard pickup. Eagles, 4 plays, all of them have been passes. Now we've got a flag. Andre Tippett, the outside linebacker on the left side, was jumping around like he had something in his shorts.
He certainly did. But what happens on a play like that? The quarterback comes out. He knows that the defense is really keyed up. They know they have to get off the ball, and he comes out with that voice inflection, and most teams...
Encroachment, number 56 on the defense. Still first down.
But the point I was going to make is that voice inflection where he can yell, "Hut, hut." That second hut, boy, it'll draw you offsides. I wish I had $1 for every time I was offside. We'd go out and eat a big steak. Hey, how about that score, the Giants?
Oh, Phil Simms, a 5-yard pass to Manuel. That is early in the first period. And look here, Tampa Bay ahead of Atlanta, 3-0 in the Who Cares game. 8:03 to play here, first period. That's Montgomery through the left side, close to the goal line and stopped near the 1. Wilbert Montgomery, only 1 touchdown, Dave, all year. That is incredible.
That's absolutely incredible. Wilbert Montgomery, we know him as a running back. 6,000 yards he's had in the last 7 years. And this is the first time they've even gotten close rushing the ball to the goal line. They only have 3 rushing touchdowns this year, Phil. That's unbelievable statistic. But they're on the 1-yard line, and the only thing they can do in this situation, Marion Campbell is there and saying, let's just drive it in. Drive it right down their throat. We got to get the ball in.
Hubie Oliver and Andre Hardy, the running backs. Oh, look at Pisarcik.
You know, he is one of the most excited people out there. I saw him on that 38-yard pass, run all the way downfield to shake hands with his wide receiver, and he calls a real heads-up play. Everybody is playing the motion. Everybody's playing the so-called ball player. I even watched Wilbert Montgomery. Watch this. He fakes to Montgomery into the hole, comes back out, and he's all alone.
That is Joe Pisarcik's first touchdown since 1978. When he was a quarterback with the Giants, he scored one. McFadden, the point after. He's perfect. So the clock stops with 7 minutes and 11 seconds to play. Pisarcik ends a 6-year personal drought. He finds Patriots here to put the Phillies ahead.
Well, you don't see much of this. This is not Phil, but this is Dave. But he really carried out that fake tremendously. Faked into the line. That's something they haven't seen a whole lot of here in Philadelphia, isn't it, Phil? Only the 4th rushing touchdown by the Eagles all year. Yes, you heard that right. Only the 4th all year. And 2, Dave, have come by quarterbacks. Jaworski had one earlier, and now Pisarcik here today. So McFadden lets it fly. And again, it will be Tony Collins at the 10. His helmet down and slams into the 30-yard line, and down there by Lawrence Sampleton. 21-yard return for Collins. Tony Eason, second year out of Illinois. Champaign. Well, what a year he has had since taking over the 3rd game of the year for Joe Grogan. 61% of his passes complete. That is tremendous. If he just gets some time, he'll be able to complete it. I mean, that's evidenced by his statistics. 21 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. That's a big ratio. That's the way they measure quarterbacks in that complicated scheme of evaluating quarterbacks. How many touchdowns to how many interceptions? That's Greg James out of Southern Methodist to the 35-yard line. Greg Wilkes stops him. Wilkes, 7th year out of Georgia Tech. Part of the old Ramblin' Wreck. The Ramblin' Wreck. I played a game there one time, and they rambled all over us. Oh, no. You lost a ball game in college? Oh, yes, I did. Joe Paterno said I was the best thing ever happened to Penn State. When I left, they started winning. There you see Eason. 21 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. Touchdown to interception ratio, the best in all of football. James this time following Holloway and John Hanna through the left side and runs headlong into Anthony Griggs. Anthony Griggs, number 58, the guy that's laying all over James, attended the same high school, Willingboro, over in New Jersey, as Carl Lewis. JFK High School in Willingboro, New Jersey. I know it well. I lived in Willingboro, believe it or not, when I was in high school. Well, actually, after I got out of high school. Hey, how about Kansas City? Is that a surprise? Kansas City 7-0 over Seattle. That's with only 1 minute gone in the first period. Take a look at this game at the Dome in Indianapolis. The Colts on top of Marino and company. But keep in mind, the Dolphins have been in that situation before. Not often, though. Not often. James again tries to sweep left, turns it inside, and is tripped up there by Herman Edwards. That was really an interesting call because they went wide on 3rd down and 1. I thought for sure they'd follow Big John Hanna and Holloway in there, Brian Holloway, but they went wide on it. But that's not a bad average right there. 9 rushes for 45 yards. Considering the fact you played less than 10 minutes, I'd say that's pretty doggone good. Absolutely. At the 42-yard line, a first down for New England. And as we have said throughout this telecast thus far, it is a must-win situation for the Patriots. And even then, they will need a boatload of help from the Raiders. Play action. Eason unloads under the coverage. That's Derek Ramsey across the midfield stripe, stretches out that 6'5" torso and plunges to the 47. I was watching Ken Clark that time. They've already started making some adjustments on Ken Clark. They're picking him up with the uncovered guard, so they have great respect for his ability in there. Watch this. You'll see number 71 to the left of your screen. They're coming off there. There's the guard to pick him up. There's Morris, number 75, getting back into the play, but they have great respect for his athletic ability. On first down at the 47. Eason swings it out to James. The screen set up. Eason took a pop, but James keeps on rambling and goes out of bounds near the 35. Dennis Harrison, the defensive end on the left side, backtracked a long way to make that tackle. He certainly did, but you should have seen Eason. He got knocked right out of his shoes on that one. I see him down there putting his shoe on. I don't know how a quarterback gets knocked out of his shoes, but Eason did on that play. Now you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, a ball club, Dave, that is 5-8-1. 3 of those 8 losses have come by 1 point. And 2 of them were in November, so that has not been a good month for them. They were happy to get out of November.
James, left side, still on his feet, grabbed by the shoelaces by the nose tackle, Ken Clark. Ken Clark already named the Eagles MVP on defense.
And it was named by the players. That's what's so important. I remember as a player, the great attributes that you get, the press can make all they want, but the great attributes are the ones when you are recognized by your teammates and your peers, and he is the most valuable player on the Eagles team.
Well, I know the Raiders voted you back in 1980 most likely to retire. And you did.
Yes.
2nd down and 8 from the 33. Eason, there's the Statue of Liberty. Oh, look at Craig James, upended by Wes Hopkins, but not before he rambles for 13 yards to the 21-yard line.
Phil, what works best is when you're thinking pass. You can see how well that is. It's a quick trap. They trapped number 71 that time because he penetrates so much, and James just broke it up the middle. Everybody was thinking pass. It was 2nd down and 8 yards to go. So they are going to work on you right there, Mr. Clark. They have great respect, but they feel that they can attack. This Patriot team has been known for their rushing ability.
James out of the ball game. Tony Collins, number 33, is in, and he has the football. Juke steps his way. He gets near the 15 before Jerry Robinson stops it. Let's go to New York now for this update.
Phil and David, a bit of a surprise in the Hoosier Dome as the Colts have taken the early lead over Miami. After a Dolphin fumble, Mike Pagel hits Ray Butler in the end zone. 7-0 Colts, but Miami is threatening. Should Miami lose, it could have an effect on home field for the playoffs.
All right, we thank you for that update from Indianapolis. And I'll tell you, I have a feeling the Dolphins are going to come roaring back. You just make them mad when you do that.
Well, they played the Raiders the other night, and we saw what happened there. They kept on coming back.
That's Collins. He creases the 13 and heads for the 12 before Greg Brown and Ken Clark combine on the tackle.
You know, for a fellow that played so much last year, Tony Collins really hasn't had that much action this year. I know he has 480 yards, but he really was the mainstay. But James came in here with his accolades and, of course, the ability he has. I think that as a tandem of running backs, the Patriots have got 2 of the best, because those players, they really complement each other. They can just take the ball and drive it down the field, and that's what the Patriots are doing right now. They're controlling the line of scrimmage. Their offensive line is controlling Philadelphia, which is really a surprise. I say it's going to make it. How's that for a call? See, I saw the chain tight.
The 10th play of the drive coming up here for the Patriots. It's a 1st down just inside. The ball nosing towards the 11-yard line. Yeah, this is the time when you'd like your defense to come up with a big turnover. And that is something this Eagles defense has done 15 times in their last 3 games. So the defense in green has been popping, folks. Collins holds on to the football, moves across the 10 near the 9. Reggie Wilkes knocks him down.
Right away, they go back with that short trap. This is really an interesting formation. Derek Ramsey, number 88, is what they call an H-back. He's not really a halfback. That H means that he comes in motion, and he does a tremendous amount of trapping. I remember when he was with the Raiders, they had great expectations for him, and I believe the Patriots have really found the place that he can play. Such a big, strong back there. He's 6'5", 235 pounds. When he hits you, he can sting you.
2nd down and 8. Eason wants to put it in the air. Morgan. What a catch by Stanley Morgan, his 5th touchdown of the year.
It's always great watching these games at the end of the season. Everybody thinks that these games are over, you know, that players are just playing out the season. Well, let me tell you, Stanley Morgan's not playing out the season. That man is not going to let his team play out the season. That's Raymond Berry. But watch this play. They pick up all the blitz, something that they've had problems with. Stanley Morgan is covered well, but makes a great catch there. You can see the coverage. He was right there. He just made a great catch out of it.
Yeah, that ball could just as easily have been picked off by Herman Edwards had he turned around. Tony Franklin, the Boo Birds are out here at the vet, but Franklin is equal to the task. He sends it through the uprights. Eason now on the day, 4 of 5 for 63 yards. Clock stops, 50 seconds remaining in the 1st period, and the Patriots have regained the lead.
Stanley Morgan, unbelievable catch here in the end zone. You know, he's almost caught Gino Cappelletti, and what a name, synonymous with the Boston fans. Everybody knows Gino Cappelletti. What's that give him, 41 now? I think that Gino has 42, and that gives Stanley 41.
He's only one behind the Patriots all-time receiver for touchdowns. Short kick. That is Andre Waters, and he is rolled under at the 36-yard line. So both place kickers, Dave, really having problems getting the ball deep with a football that is very chilly.
It is chilly, but anytime you're able to start your offense on the 35, 36-yard line, your kicker has not done his job. He has got to get the ball downfield farther. He's got to get it deeper and higher, and if he doesn't, you just cannot stop. You can't ask your defense to come in and start playing on the 36-yard line.
I wonder if you might see some of these kickers, McFadden for the Eagles, Franklin for the Patriots, put on a shoe. There you see the scoring drive.
Well, the scoring drives, we've had 3 scoring drives, and all of them have been over 60 yards, so it's a real defensive struggle here today.
Jackson. It sets up well, and Kenny is taken out of bounds at the Patriots' 48-yard line.
The thing that you have to do on a slip screen is you have got to get your deep offensive lineman out to block for you. We see Jackson there running back, but watch this. Now he gets, you'll see number 74 come out there. That's Leonard Mitchell. Now watch the block that he gets. He's the important block. If he makes that block, he's going to turn upfield. You can see the block. He got out in front of it. They picked up big yardage on that play.
Kenny Jackson shut out a week ago. His first reception today. This is only Kenny Jackson's second start since he suffered a shoulder injury way back in the middle of October against the New York Giants. The blitz. Montgomery has it, and he won't get much. What a job Larry McGrew, the linebacker on the right side, did of shutting up the hole.
That's one thing that the 34 defense, 34 meaning 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers, that's what they do so well. Steve Nelson, McGrew in there, they react so quickly to the ball. You've got 3 rocks of granite, so to speak, your 2 ends and your nose tackle, and you've got 4 linebackers that can run just like you're pouring hot water on their back.
Now that will be the last play of the first quarter here at the Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Patriots grabbed the lead. The Eagles came back and took the lead, and now New England has it back. We'll be back in a moment. Little tic-tac-toe there, Dave?
Absolutely not. That's Raymond Barry, and he is trying to sit there and see where they've attacked and what has worked best. Coaches are really into this game. And old Raymond, what a great guy. I'll tell you, if there's 5 guys better in the National Football League than Raymond Barry, I don't know him.
Now take a look at time of possession. You don't need to look anywhere else.
Well, that's true. Look at the rushing yards for the Eagles, 8 yards. That's a big stat.
2nd down and 9 as we begin the second quarter of play. Pisarcik has had time, and he gets the ball out to Hubie Oliver, who would be a running back out of Arizona. And Oliver carries it near the 40-yard line. It will be very close to a first down.
Bill, I almost get the feeling that we're playing, waiting for the turnover. As you said, the Eagles have been so successful in turning the ball over. They've turned the ball over, what you say, 15 times in the last 3 games, which is an unbelievable statistic. And I feel almost like we're waiting for the first fumble, the first interception, because they played excellent football. This just doesn't look like 2 teams that are playing out the season. These fellows have come, and they're ready to play this football game. They both want to go home for Christmas winners if they, in fact, have to go home.
Pisarcik, Dave, thus far in the ball game in the first period, 5 of 6 for 74 yards. So he has been on the money. Oh, Andre Hardy, a rookie out of St. Mary's, says hello to this man, Kenny Sims.
Well, Kenny Sims, number 77, is probably one of the most highly touted defensive linemen out of Texas. I remember him 3 years ago when he came out of Texas. Highly touted. Just really didn't fall into the groove. But watch the penetration that he gets. He's just diving in there, and you'll see him cut the legs out from Hardy. Well, that's just a great play. When you want, on that 3rd down, you've got to get penetration, and he did it.
So on 4th down and 4, Michael Horan will unquestionably go for the corner. Irving Fryer watches it go out of bounds at the 10-yard line. So Horan gets the job done. A 31-yard punt, but more importantly, he has pinned the Patriots on their own 10-yard line with 14:08 to play in the first half. Phil Stone along with Dave Rowe. We are happy to be a part of your football Sunday, wherever you might be watching our telecast from. There you see the Patriots out in front of the Eagles 10-7. 14:08 to play in the first half. Greg James, the setback. He has the football, and he moves it out near the 15-yard line. He follows Ron Wooten and Darrell Haley through the right side. Greg Brown shuts it off, number 98 in green.
Oh, we got some great games going on today. Oh, boy, look at this one. Pittsburgh's come back. Don't you think Cincinnati is really rooting for Cleveland?
Well, it was a 61-yard pass, too, from Malone to Lewis Lips. Here you go. I told you the Dolphins would be back. Guess who put them on the board?
All right, super duper.
Woody Bennett.
Whoa.
James starts it out left, turns it inside, and oh, does he take a shot. Hello, Anthony Griggs, third year out of Ohio State.
Boy, oh boy, you said he took a shot. He took a shot, but he runs with reckless abandon. There's 58 Griggs. Watch the tail end of this run if we get to see it. Griggs hits him. Watch this. That's a misdirection play. He takes it now. He wants to turn up. Now watch Griggs, number 58, come in here. Boom. That's what you call a heel, a decleater, they call that. That's when you see the cleats up in the air.
You saw James's number, 66 yards already today. Third down and more than one. Tutupu on his feet, and he will not get the first down. Greg Brown again in with help from Ken Clark.
That's what the Eagles have done so successfully so much this season, is stopping that third down in one play, forcing the team to punt. Now the Eagles are going to get great field position. They should get the ball somewhere near the 50-yard line, so they're going to be right back in field position.
That Camarillo is on his second punt of the day. Camarillo came in with an average of just over 43 yards a pop. Camarillo, a fourth-round draft choice out of Washington, old former Husky.
A former Husky, but wasn't it interesting when they cut the punter who took his place? You know, injured early in late preseason, they brought in Prestridge. He had two 80-some-yard kicks, and they cut him. They have a lot of confidence in that young man.
Cooper going backwards.
Oh,
and
boy.
don't you know, he'll take some heat from Marion Campbell, a 42-yard punt, and he loses 4 yards. December 22nd, it's the Georgia Bulldogs and the Florida State Seminoles in the Florida Citrus Bowl here on NBC. Used to be a time not long ago when number 31, Wilbert Montgomery, plied his trade carrying the elongated spheroid. Not so anymore.
Elongated spheroid? Oh, that's a ball, isn't it? I had to catch this. See, I'm a defensive lineman.
Well, now he's catching the ball for a living in 1984. There's a pattern. How do you like that? Mike Quick. Finally stopped by Ernest Gibson at the 31-yard line.
Bill, I was waiting for you to ask me what I would do in this situation. I was going to say I would stay with Joe Pisarcik because he's got the hot hand. As I told you, watch this ball. You'll see Quick come from the left side of your screen. It's a post pattern. In other words, he runs to the post. With his speed, he's a welcome addition back in their offensive game plan. 33 yards. That's not hard to take.
Well, for Pisarcik, you're right. He is hotter than a firecracker. That is his 6th straight completion. There's Wilbert. And that is why the Eagles are not running the ball a whole bunch this year.
Well, they're not controlling the line of scrimmage. They just are not getting off the ball into the blockers and driving them back. You cannot have penetration be a running team. The thing the Patriots have done so well in the past with Hanna and, of course, all the big guys that they had, Brock, they just control the line of scrimmage. That's something the Eagles have not done this year.
Now the situation, you just saw it. New England with a 10-7 lead over the Eagles with 10 minutes and 35 seconds to play, and the clock is turning here in the first half. Second down and 5 from the 27. Montgomery this time will try the right side, and Ken Sims grabs him first. Don Blackman came up, 4th year out of Tulsa, and finished Mr. Montgomery off.
Well, they don't drive Ken Sims, number 77, off the line of scrimmage. We talked about it. They're just not controlling the line of scrimmage, and Ken Sims got great penetration. You'll see him in the top part of your screen, driving back his deep offensive lineman. Look there. He reaches out and grabs Wilbert. He's got some great hand strength to hold on because that young man can really run hard. And he holds him up just long enough for those linebackers, those quick linebackers, to get back to the ball.
Now Sims, boy, I tell you, he was out almost all of last year with a broken leg and then a back injury. And he is making some noise this year. 3rd down and 7. Pisarcik pressured for the first time today. And he doesn't get much. Julie Adams, oh, the oldest active defensive lineman in the NFL. Not too old that time around.
No, old Julius, it's great to see him. I went down and talked with him. Hey, how about that? Indianapolis, they must really be playing a game there today. 10-7. Wow.
Now similar situation at Three Rivers. Pittsburgh out in front of Cleveland. St. Louis has tied the Giants. 4-yard pass from Lomax to Tilley. Atlanta, Tampa Bay. It is now the Buccaneers on top of Atlanta 10-0. So McFadden, a 50-yard attempt. High snap, it's down. Oh, he lets it fly. McFadden, his 28th connection in 33 attempts. That is tops in the NFL, and it ties this ball game.
Phil, this is a record-breaking kick because McFadden just broke the record of Tom Dempsey. Tom Dempsey had kicked 106 points here. He just broke it. He has 107 points. Watch the jubilation there. Getting picked up by the quarterback.
And that record of Tom Dempsey's, David, had stood for 11 years. Tom set that back in 1973. Our congratulations to Paul McFadden. Boy, I'll tell you, a long shot to make this ball club. But he has done a whale of a job for Marion Campbell's Eagles. Short kick. That is Collins across the 32, and just look at Collins put his head down and drive to the 36. So the Patriots will have the ball with 9:09 to play in the second quarter. The Eagles and New England deadlock at 10. Well, that is the daily staple of virtually every Philadelphian.
Philadelphia knows their pretzels. Now, the side with the mustard was his, and the other side that was plain was hers.
First and 10, New England. We're tied at 10 apiece. Short drop. Eason looks left, comes back right, and just flat out misses Derek Ramsey. You don't see Eason do that very often.
No, you don't. But I've watched Eason 3 or 4 times holding his fingers. I wondered whether his hand was bothering him because that was just a very poor thrown ball. He wasn't covered. He didn't throw into coverage. It just looked as if it was a poor thrown ball. I wonder whether he might have some type of a hand injury because every time he's thrown a ball like that, he's shook his fingers.
Stephen Starring now goes to the top of your screen, wide to the left. In the slot is Stanley Morgan. The give, draw play. Look at James Lumber, close to a first down. He may have it at the 46-yard line. It will be awfully close.
Well, I'll tell you, the Patriots are really having great play selection. This is just a simple draw pattern. Great cutback by James. That artificial turf gives you good fitting and footing in this bad weather. Look at those stats. 14 rushes, 75 yards. It's going to bring up, it looks as if to me, if it was going to be short. And if it is, it's going to bring up that proverbial 2nd down and 1 where you're able to throw the bomb.
Yeah, it will be short by about 6 inches.
Well, that's going to bring down 3rd and 1. Excuse me, I was wrong on that. Why don't you ask me what I'd do right now, Phil?
Well, what would you do right now, Dave?
I'd come right back to Mr. James.
3rd down and 1.
I'd run Derek Jensen in short motion, and I think I'd run right to Mr. James.
Now he gets the first down, but not without carrying Anthony Griggs for a yard or 2.
Well, you got to go. You got to dance with the girl you take, you know, and that's what's got him there. You know, you have to be amazed with the leg strength that running backs have today. James is that type. He has great leg strength. When he gets hit, he doesn't just fall down. Now watch the legs on him as he gets here. Right there, he dips. There's the leg strength. Get that extra 1 or 2 yards. That is the biggest difference that I see in running backs today.
Now you look at the Patriots offense last week. 87 yards for the total game. They have 94 yards already, and we still have half of the first half to play. Eason, right over the top, almost caught, and then almost picked off by Jerry Robinson. Stanley Morgan had the ball that popped in and out of his arms, and then it went in and out of Jerry Robinson's hands.
What a great reaction by Ray Ellis, number 24 for the Eagles. You'll see him come from a deep spot as Morgan turns around here. Now watch him come into your picture. Boom, he knocks that now there, right there. He had the ball in his hands. Actually, Stanley knocked that ball out.
Second down and 10 from the 48. Cedric Jones is now in the ball game. Play action, Eason. Dawson's wide open, but Eason could not find him.
There's been a lot of criticism. The fact that the Patriots have been sacked 24 times, but I'll tell you this, that is not an offensive line sack. There are certain sacks that are created by the offensive line. That's where you have a breakdown on a blocking assignment. But Eason took so much time that time that when he dropped back, he had no one to throw to, and he had to go down with the ball. That's not an offensive line sack. That is a secondary sack where the secondary covers so well that he just has to almost, like they say, eat the ball.
For Dennis Harrison, 11 and a half sacks from his left defensive end position. That equals his career high. Third down and 16. Blitz. Eason lets it fly, and it's in and out of the hands of Mosi Tatupu. And Mosey wisely let that ball sail out of bounds.
He certainly did. A lot of pressure on Eason that time. Now that was an offensive breakdown. They had a twist inside. They got a lot of pressure on Eason, and he just threw that one up and threw it out of bounds. I was looking there at 76, Brian Holloway. You won't believe this, but his mother was going to come to the game. She tore knee ligaments, and she's on injured reserve and couldn't come to the game. He told me she was on here and had a knee injury and had to stay home.
IR. Mom's on IR. At Camarillo, his third punt of the afternoon. Yvonne Cooper back at his own 17-yard line. Good snap. All the time in the world. Oh, Camarillo has no problems compressing the football. Backs Cooper up to the 9. Flag is down way back at the 40-yard line. Cooper advances it across the 21. A 49-yard punt and 11-yard return, but it is holding against New England.
That's going to negate a great punt by Camarillo. Let's see how big a play this is, because the Eagles would have had the ball only on their 21-yard line. When he re-kicks this ball, it's going to be interesting to see how big a penalty this is going to be, because it could be 20 or 30 yards, because they're going to bring it back, take the penalty, make them re-kick it again. Let's see where the field position is established.
What was fun is on the far sideline, all of the offensive unit of the Philadelphia Eagles was motioning. Let him take it back.
Holding before the kick, number 95 on the offense, still fourth down.
Ed Reynolds.
I never understood that. There's holding before the kick, there's holding after the kick, and then there's the holding during the kick.
That's right. So they'll back him up 5 yards. This time it'll come from the 32. Well, Pittsburgh continuing to lead Cleveland. Kansas City on top of Seattle, and St. Louis out in front of the Giants 14-7 in the second quarter. Here at Veterans Stadium, 6:57 to play in the first half. We are tied at 10 apiece. Camarillo lets it sail again, this time Cooper from the 25. So the Eagles will pick up about 16 or 17 yards on the play. So it was a good decision to have Camarillo punt it again. A 43-yard punt, an 11-yard return. So that is where Philadelphia will take the football. We'll be back to the vet in a moment. Now, this is a flip card. This was the Super Bowl of 1981 at the Superdome in New Orleans. The Raiders and the Eagles. Boy, look at some of those names, Dave.
Well, there's only 15 players that are left on this team from that Super Bowl, so you can see the tremendous turnover that they've had in personnel. Look at that top part. That's the Raiders, isn't it? That's America's team, by the way. I want to let you know that. They can say what they want about Dallas, but I identify with the Raiders.
America's team.
That's right.
First down and 10 for the Eagles at their own 37-yard line. That's Wilbert Montgomery crashing his way to the 41. You know, you talk about the Raiders being America's team. I did a Raiders game 2 weeks ago when they played the Kansas City Chiefs and the Indianapolis Colts. I was talking to Lyle Alzado about their image of being the rough, tough guys. He says, you know, I don't like that image. He said, you know, if all of us were real Raiders and we went into a town, I'd like to think that we'd go in and we'd take care of the women and the children first. And then he pauses and said, then we'd pillage and plunder them. Lyle Alzado, 2nd down and 6, Philadelphia. At the 41. Montgomery again through the right side. He's got some room. Now the Eagles offensive line, Mitchell and Ron Baker on the right side are just blowing Ken Sims and Dennis Owens off the ball right now.
Well, this is the Wilbert Montgomery that I'm used to seeing. I came in here thinking that this was Wilbert Montgomery, the 1,000-yard rusher. Watch this cut. This is the way the old Wilbert Montgomery used to go. You get into the hole. As soon as you get in the hole, you see the outside seam. You get out there. That's the old Wilbert Montgomery. If they can get him running like that, they can make some yardage. Now watch once he gets in the hole. It's really interesting. Most runners, once they get into the hole there, they'll break to the outside. There's the break.
A first down for Philadelphia. Pisarcik wants to put it up, and he's going for the flag. Kenny Jackson had a step on Ernest Gibson.
We used to call that when I played. We used to call that a long incompletion. Thank goodness. Especially for the Patriots, but he was only a step away. Watching the lower part of your picture, you'll see he's only a step away. What great camera work. Wow.
Well, the guy the Eagles are going after is Ernest Gibson, the rookie out of Furman, holding down the left corner position. In fact, Dave, I would venture to say since 1982 when Michael Haynes defected to the Raiders, Patriots have been looking for somebody on that left side.
They certainly have. And this young man, as you said, he's a rookie, but he's played well. He sometimes gives too much ground, and he gets beaten underneath a lot. That's the one criticism that they have on him.
Montgomery out of the backfield, twists and turns his way, but is tripped up at the 44-yard line. Let's go to New York now for this update.
All right, Phil, in Kansas City, the Chiefs have scored again against the Seahawks. Scott Radisick intercepts Dave Craig, and the rookie out of Penn State goes 19 yards the other way for the score. Ironically, earlier this year, Seattle returned 4 interceptions for touchdowns against the Chiefs.
Yeah, interesting happenings at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Boy, that is a game the Seahawks have to find a way to win.
They certainly do.
Al Montgomery with that catch you saw a moment ago, his 51st of the season, and that is a new career high for Wilbert. Pisarcik stops, now unloads. I don't know if Quick got it. Did he get his feet in?
Yes,
he did. He caught it right in front of Ronnie Lippett. Lippett standing there with his hands on his hips saying, how in the world did he catch that ball?
You want to see how close being inbounds and being out of bounds are. Watch the feet. Watch the feet on this. Now he runs. He's going to run for the first down. No, he's going to drop it off. Now watch the feet come down in bounds. You really have to concentrate here. Right there. The feet are down in bounds. Quite a reception. That's a big reception because it was a first down play. But that was an interesting call by Pisarcik because he ran out of the pocket. Immediately ran out of the pocket. He was thinking blitz all the way.
Well, his receiver of the day thus far has been Mike Quick. 4 catches, 53 yards for number 82. Montgomery. And he runs into Steve Nelson, but not before Wilbert moves the ball to the 33, maybe the 32.
Well, I said this is the old Wilbert Montgomery. I can't believe that he only has 600 yards this season because watch him get into the hole. He's got tremendous acceleration. He gets into the hole as the offensive and defensive linemen are tied up. He breaks through. He's a small fellow with great strength and great speed. That's the way he's played in the past. That's the Wilbert Montgomery I was expecting to see.
2nd down and 4. The ball on the 32. 3 minutes and 50 seconds to play here in the first half. There's Montgomery. Starts inside and then slides to the outside. And he moves it to the 29-yard line. Larry McGrew on the tackle.
I was watching Steve Nelson that time. He's really played well this season. He is their inspirational leader as well as their leading tackler. And he really came up and stuffed that hole. Montgomery had really no place to go. You've got to be pleased with the linebacker crew of this Patriot team. Nelson, year after year, he's never gotten the recognition that really he should have gotten. And I think this year he's got a good shot at the Pro Bowl with the retirement, of course, of Randy Gradishar and the injured reserve of Lambert. Nelson certainly should get some Pro Bowl recognition.
Well, interesting, over the last 2 years, when the Pro Bowl voted on the 4-3 defense, Nelson was always the third middle linebacker mentioned in Pro Bowl balloting. Pisarcik on the sneak, and I believe he got the first down. And he did. So the Eagles are moving here as the clock is rolling with 2:48 to play in the first half. Eagles would love to get one more play off before the clock would automatically stop for the 2-minute warning.
Well, with 2 minutes and 40 seconds, they better get a play off. See, I remember that because I was a defensive lineman. They've got to get a play off in 40 seconds.
From the 28-yard line. Is it a fumble or is it a pass? The Eagles have covered it. And it will be ruled a fumble. Ron Baker pounced on the ball. Andre Tippett is the man who jumped all over Joe Pisarcik.
Now that time the pocket really collapsed around Pisarcik. He had nowhere to go with. He couldn't step up. He couldn't roll out. He had to just get down with the ball.
Now that's a play that the Eagles would just as soon not have gotten off before the 2-minute warning. We have arrived. 2 to play in the first half. We'll be back. The Eagles with the ball at the New England 35-yard line. It is 2nd down and 16. And Dave Rowe, if you happen to be Marion Campbell and Joe Pisarcik, what is the call here?
Well, I would go with what Pisarcik has done so well. He's 8 of 10 for 118 yards in the first half. I'd go to that post pattern that he hit Mike Quick so effectively on in that seam. Bring him out to the right, spread him out there, and just see if you can get the ball to him. He's been the big receiver today.
Well, he's got Quick and Kenny Jackson at the top on the right side. Here come the Patriots. There's a little screen. Montgomery has it. Gets a great block from Mark Dennard, the center. The clock continues to run. Montgomery could not get out of bounds. Fred Marion rolls him down.
Well, I guess that's why I'm a defensive lineman and not a coach, because he called a play that fooled me, that little slip screen. They called a slip screen because he slips out into the flat. Now, there's the man that really makes most of the calls. That's Ted Marchibroda there to the left of Marion Campbell. Excuse me, to the right of Marion Campbell. Great offensive mind. And he is also a gentleman who has taken more than his share of heat in the city of brotherly love for a rather conservative offense. Yes, he is very conservative. He doesn't like to lose ball games because of big play mistakes. 3rd down and 8. Now where do you go, to Quick? I'm going right back to Mike Quick or Jackson. Look at Pisarcik. Fakes the inside handoff. Dave, what was that about conservative offense by Marchibroda?
This is not conservative. You fake the handoff. The first time I've seen a quarterback in a long while be your big play runner. He ran that other one for a touchdown, runs a similar play here. Joe Pisarcik is not playing like a quarterback that hasn't played before. He's playing like a starting quarterback. He's playing very well. Play selection has been tremendous.
1st and goal from the 10-yard line. 1:01 to play, first half. Montgomery.
Oh, boy. Eagle power. That's what they call it here. And they haven't seen much Eagle power this year. They've got 2 rushing touchdowns already today, and they've only got 3 for the entire year.
Montgomery has both of them. Pardon me, has one of them. Pisarcik has the other. And here's McFadden on.
That was Montgomery's first touchdown rushing since the opening day of the year, the opening game.
That's unbelievable. McFadden sends it through the uprights. And with 54 seconds to play, the Eagles have a lead over New England.
They certainly do, and they have it because of Wilbert Montgomery, number 31. Slides into the hole, gets a good block there from Baker, and he's out. There's the acceleration and speed. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
Clock stops. The home team has the lead, and Eagle fans are roaring. There's the man, number 76, Brian Holloway. Interestingly enough, at Stanford, he was their top shot putter back in 1979. There's something you didn't know. He put that shot about 59 feet.
6'7", 288 pounds, and you have never met an easier talking person in your life. Very, very soft talker.
At the 19-yard line. Out of bounds goes Keith Lee. So the scoring drive for the Philadelphia Eagles, it took them 5 minutes and 52 seconds to negotiate 63 yards. They only needed a dozen plays, and Wilbert Montgomery ended it all with a 10-yard jaunt around the left side. And that is where we stand with 50 seconds to play in the first half. Cincinnati out in front of New Orleans 3-0 at the Dome. Jimmy Breach from 35 yards away for the Bengals. Eason would like to equal this score. Plenty of time. Now is chased out of the pocket. Ramsey had it and had it knocked away on a tremendous hit by Roynell Young out of Alcorn State. So that will stop the clock with 43 ticks remaining.
Is this the time that you throw it up to Stanley the Steamer?
Well, I'll tell you, it wouldn't be a bad call. He has one catch for a touchdown from 76 yards away.
The thing he does so well is get so deep so quickly. He's got great acceleration off the ball. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to go to him, that deep pattern.
There's the post pattern. It was intended for Greg Hawthorne. Here's the backup H-back, and now Eason has missed his last 5 in a row.
He has. That's exactly right. He's missed his last 5, but they've been difficult throws. He hasn't played the conservative control offense that got him down there, so they have got to get in field goal range. In order to get there, they have to get inside to about the 30-yard line.
Now, don't forget, stay with us at halftime. We'll take you to NFL 84. And for those of you who happen to see it, the Axe, Pete Axtell, picked the Eagles to upend the Patriots today. And thus far, through almost 30 minutes of play, that is what is happening. Philadelphia 17, the Patriots 10. Eason hit just as he released the ball. It was intended for Craig James. Greg Brown was all over Tony.
Eason again took a lot of time.
Now the Patriots, unable to move the ball, will now be faced with a 4th and 10 situation. And the 4th punt of the day will come off Mr. Camarillo's foot. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles would get the ball and try and put something else on the board.
Well, the one thing you don't want to have happen late in a game like this is to have a big play mistake. They have got to cover it just like they covered at the beginning of the game. Now they've got a wide receiver out here where they could throw the ball to him. He's out here waving, saying, hey, I'm uncovered. They really came after him.
More of a line drive punt. Yvonne Cooper bobbles it, now comes down with it, and is hit instantly. I mean, immediately by Ronnie Lippett. Second-year corner out of Miami, Florida. 40-yard punt. I don't know if you call that a 3-yard return or just a 3-yard bobble before you get your head taken off.
Like a 3-yard bounce. Hey, you know what? I'm going to watch real soon, that Fiesta Bowl down in Miami. That's going to be a great game.
That's going to be a good one. Miami and UCLA will square off in the Fiesta Bowl. Who do you like in that game?
I've got to go with Miami.
I think you're right.
Oh, that Kozar can throw the ball. He can. Oh, boy. Somebody's going to be after him next year.
From the shotgun on 1st and 10. Pisarcik. He wants more, and it is intercepted. Ernest Gibson, the rookie out of Furman, his 2nd interception of 1984. And now what you do is you give the Patriots and Tony Eason a shot at equaling the score.
Oh boy, Marion Campbell has got to be upset with that play. They've been controlling this game, and with 17 seconds, Pisarcik makes a poor throw. He throws into coverage. It's a rotational zone coverage. In other words, they're coming towards right where he's throwing, and you'll see him step right in front. Right in front. He got the ball. Boy, I'll tell you, that can change the complexion. That's Ernest Gibson.
That's the rookie that we were talking about.
That's the guy everybody around the league's been picking on.
Well, he played that one. They won't pick on him anymore today.
A first down at the 43. 15-14 left. There's Morgan. Taken out of bounds with 8 seconds to play. And now the question is, do you try for one more play, or do you just bring on Franklin and try and get to within 4 points of the Eagles?
That's a tough decision, because with 7 seconds left, you have enough time to throw a touchdown pass or an out-of-bounds pass. But if you get caught in bounds, you're not going to have the chance to get that second play off. So it's a big decision here. I think that the Patriots are going to go for the touchdown. They're calling a timeout to talk about it because they don't want to make a mistake. They're in this game. They're only down 7 points. This is an awfully big play.
So after 6 consecutive incompletions, Tony Eason goes back to the old timer out of Tennessee. In his 8th year, Stanley Morgan, a gain of 22 yards to the Eagles' 21-yard line and 7 seconds to play.
Still, if the Patriots get some points out of this, and it looks as if they're going to send Eason. Oh, they're going to send Franklin in. Now, wait till you hear the crowd here.
Listen to this.
Oh, boy. They're not going to like this. But if, in fact, the Patriots do get some points out of this, I'll tell you, the Philadelphia people are going to be on that play, because it was a very poor choice. Very poor choice by Patriots.
Now, Franklin has 10 in a row. Would like to make this his 11th.
How about 17 of his last 19 field goals he's made?
Eason will set it down. This will come from 38 yards away.
He missed it. You can tell we didn't even have to listen. All you have to do is listen. I saw those people in the end zone all jump up and cheer, and I knew they weren't cheering for Tony Franklin.
Well, it is a sight that Eagle fans saw an awful lot of from Mr. Franklin a year ago when he was wearing the wings of the Philadelphia Eagles. But what a year he has had. He doesn't need to hang his head for anybody.
No, he's played very, very well. They've been very pleased with him. And really, the Eagles really escaped with something that they shouldn't have escaped with. They should have probably given up some points in that situation. They were very fortunate to escape. This is the old ball down by Patriots.
Now, hold on. We got a flag down. We have a flag. The question is, who is it against, offense or defense? It is against the offense, and that will be the last play of the first half. Naturally, the Patriots will decline the penalty. So that's it. We have played 30 minutes of football, and the Patriots, in a must-win situation to stay alive in the playoff chase in '84, are trailing. Let's go to New York now for NFL '84.
It is halftime at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, and there you see the damages. The Eagles, absolutely no chance at all of making the playoffs here in 1984, out in front of the New England Patriots, 17-10. And Dave, as we have said throughout the telecast, this is a must-win for the Patriots.
It certainly is. They have got to score. They've got to win if they want to have any life at all. You said they have a light pulse. Well, they have a light pulse right now.
Well, I'll tell you, they've got to find a way to come back, and you can bet Raymond Berry is telling his charges just that in the Patriot locker room. Interestingly enough, as we said at the top of our telecast, for the Patriots to win, they would have to get number 11 free and standing.
They certainly would. They've had to have time, and they have to get the ball to Stanley the Steamer, Stanley Morgan, and he came through with a big touchdown catch early.
But it has not been enough, because for Philadelphia, interestingly enough, here's a ball club that had only rushed for 3 touchdowns all year, and this guy hadn't scored running the ball in 6 years.
He hadn't scored. He ran a quarterback fake bootleg, scored, and then Wilbert Montgomery, he only had 1 touchdown rushing the first game of the season, and he picks up his 2nd touchdown rushing, and they're up on top.
They're up on top 17-10, and it is a game that really, by and large, the Eagles just are trying to play out the string. But for the New England Patriots, it is a game that they have got to find a way to come back and win, and they will need all the help they can get still from the Raiders. We'll be back after this message from your local station.
16 yards passing to Eason's only having 70, and really Tony Eason is supposedly the better quarterback, so he should have the better yards. But Patriots has been hot. He passed the first 10 passes. He had 8 completions out of that. You can't pass any better than that. I would look for them to go back to his arm.
Now they have been able to free up Mike Quick. Quick, of course, coming back after the rib injury. He's also been hampered by tendonitis problems. There you look at Ray Berry, and he knows he is in a very precarious position at best.
Well, he is. He came in here halfway through the season or so and took over a team that he really has to be given a chance in preseason to indoctrinate his terminology and his philosophy. But the players really like him. They really enjoy him. They think he's a great guy. And I think he's changed a lot of the attitude for this team.
Franklin to kick it away. And it will be taken at the 11-12 yard line by Ray Ellis. And he won't get much more than the 25, possibly the 26-yard line. Now that is where the Eagles will take the football. A 14-yard return for Ellis. And there's the man Dave spoke of a moment ago, Joe Pisarcik. Well, he has spent an awful lot of time watching Ron Jaworski get it done here in Philadelphia.
He certainly has. There's the completion. Look at that. Pisarcik, 75% of his completions. You can't pass better than that in the NFL.
Now, Eason, 20 percentage points below his season average of 61% completion. So it has not been a typical Tony Eason afternoon. But keep in mind, we have 30 minutes to play, and a whole bunch can happen in that span of time.
Well, I know one thing that's true in the NFL, and that's cream rises to the top. So he's had the stats, and he'll be back.
Now the Eagles, for the first time in the ballgame, running out of the I formation, and it is complete to John Spagnola, and the big tight end out of Yale, his first catch of the day.
Probably one of the biggest targets that the Eagles have had all season long has been the target of Spagnola, number 88, coming off your line. Watch the target. Look at the size of him coming across the line here. He just reaches out and just snaps this ball. And it was interesting that Mike Quick came back and got a great block for him. You might not see it in the picture. But, well, yeah, there you go. See the block that he came back? That's a tribute to a wide receiver when they come back and get a block for their fellow wide receiver.
Ernest Gibson hurt on the near sideline. He was helped to the bench. Ronnie Lippett, number 42, is now the left corner. There's the give. Montgomery juking his way through the 45 near the 49. And a flag is down. It will be holding against the Eagles. So nullify Montgomery's advance.
That is going to be holding. It's going to be holding on the up back.
Yeah, I believe you're right. It looked like Hubie Oliver was the man hanging his head.
That kind of hurts it.
Holding, number 65 on the offense.
Oh, they got Mark Dennard.
Uh-oh. That's one way to get your name mentioned, Mark.
Well, I thought you were right, Dave. I thought
it was too. Yeah. I really did. I thought when he came back, they come back in that little slot motion. That is really interesting. The H-back that they keep on bringing in motion actually is a trapper. He comes in and catches that defensive lineman from the side, and it's like a running trap play. Boy, it is a wicked play if you're a defensive lineman down in the pits.
Again, the Eagles, for the second time in the game, out of the I formation. That gets Montgomery out one-on-one with Andre Tippett, and that time the third-year linebacker out of Iowa wins the battle.
Wins the battle. That's the understatement. That young man right there has 14.5 sacks, so he's won a lot of battles. But what's unbelievable is that Montgomery tried to straight arm, and Tippett just grabbed that arm and like he yanked it out of his shoulder.
Dave, if there has been a problem for the Patriots defensively here in 1984, what would it be in your estimation?
Well, their front three have got to improve. They have got to get a little bit more consistent on their pass rush. They've got to get the sacks. If they had the sack record that the Eagles have, they'd be right up there. They'd be a contender. They've got to play more solid football.
Second down now at 19. The blitz is on. Pisarcik and Rhodes.
Boy, did Pisarcik take a hit. He got crunched, and he's down on his knees. You can see when a quarterback bends over like that, he's trying to straighten up, get the air back in his chest. He took a whale of a shot.
Mike Quick on the receiving end of Pisarcik's aerial. 5 catches now for 74 yards and a first down for the Eagles.
Phil, that's that same post pattern. Look, watch Mike Quick, number 82, come in your picture. Now he's going to break up as soon as the ball is snapped, and he's going to run to the middle. That's a seam one-on-one, and with his acceleration, he gets the ball in here. Now, we're not going to see Pisarcik, I don't believe, get hit, but he paid the price to get that ball there. He really took a shot.
And I'll tell you who else paid the price. The corner on the right side, a rookie out of Clemson, Rod McSwain. Here's Montgomery, sweep right, turns it up.
He almost lost the ball. Wilbert Montgomery made a great cut that time, but Don Blackman, number 55, almost stripped the ball out. That's one thing the Patriots have done very well as the turnover department. Watch on the tail end here. Again, you see Wilbert Montgomery make that cut. When he plants that right foot, cuts back against the grain. There's the cut back. Now watch Blackman, 55. He almost strips that ball out. Look at that. He pulls the ball almost out of his hands.
Montgomery today averaging almost 6 yards a carry. And he has the football again. And this time he moves it near the 29-yard line, and he is hammered by Steve Nelson. Well, Nelson's done that to quite a few running backs in his 11 years.
Old Nelly, I'll tell you, probably one of the great inspirational players up there. He's done an awful lot for that team. He's probably the core of their defense is Nelson. He is just Mr. Solid in there. I notice every year when I do a game, he always has over 100 tackles. This year, coming into this game, he had 176 tackles. And I thought it was really interesting when I read the press guide. You know what he does for a hobby? Bird watching.
Watches birds.
Sounds kind of calm for a linebacker in the NFL.
I'll tell you somebody who else has a strange hobby in just a moment. Pisarcik. And he was going for Spagnola and overthrew him. You know who else has a very unusual hobby is the inside linebacker on the right side for the Eagles, Anthony Griggs. He collects sunglasses.
Let's take a look at Steve Nelson. We've talked a lot about him. There he is in your picture, number 57. Now he's on a blitz coming all the way around the outside. He almost gets to Pisarcik. Still runs pretty good for a man that's played 11 years, doesn't he?
I'll tell you one thing, I still don't understand how they do it. How can a quarterback remain so calm in a pocket when the whole world is ending around him? There you see Cincinnati out in front of the Saints in the third period.
Well, they're doing their part to win that division.
Third down and 7 now from the 29 from the shotgun. Pisarcik. And he underthrew Hubie Oliver. Andre Tippett again right on Pisarcik's ankles.
Bill, you say, how does a quarterback remain calm? I used to be amazed when I used to watch Kenny Stabler out there. We always thought he had ice water in his veins. He never got upset, never got emotional. We played these Patriots in a game where we scored with only 20 seconds left on the clock, and he dove in the end zone and acted like nothing had happened.
Here's McFadden.
This is a chip shot. This is only, what, 46 yards?
Well, he's 1 for 1 today from 50 yards away. Oh, this has got plenty of distance. Look here. A dejected Patriot defense heads for the sidelines as the Eagles go up by 10 over New England. 11 minutes, 21 seconds to play, third period. McFadden set to boot it away. He kicks it to the near side. It is Collins at the 12-yard line. And Tony dives ahead to the 31. A 20-yard return before Byron Darby chips him up. There's the situation here at the vet. The Eagles, surprise, surprise, leading the Patriots 20-10 early in the third period as Eason of the offense for New England trots on. Elsewhere around the league, there are some surprises all across the league. This is not one of them. Pittsburgh trying to nail down the AFC Central Division title. They're out in front of Cleveland. Cincinnati leading New Orleans. They're trying to stay close. James to the 32, maybe the 33, a gain of a couple. Dennis Harrison and Anthony Griggs combine on the stop.
Phil, when you get in a situation like the Patriots are right now, they're down 10 points. You really change the complexion and philosophy of your offense. You've got to get 10 points. You know that you're out of the ball game unless you score. It really puts an awful lot more pressure on a young quarterback like Eason. He's got to be able to run a controlled offense, but he's got to pick up yardage. He's got to gobble it up in a hurry here.
Eason rolling right. Now unloads. Oh, he was trying to hit Stephen Starring, who made a cut and fell down. Elbert Fowles had the coverage on Starring.
Kind of like when it rains, it pours. When your wide receiver falls down, you got nobody to throw it to. Well, Eason's not giving up. I just saw him in there clapping and getting his offense going. And I know Big John Hanna, number 73, he's not going to quit. And neither is that man there, Raymond Berry.
from the 33. Eason steps in the pocket. The pass intended for Irving Fryer, and Brainard Wilson broke it up. Wilson with exceptional coverage on the rookie from Nebraska.
He really almost broke it up. He almost broke up this crowd with about a 50-yard return, because that was a very much an interceptable ball. That ball could have come the other way, let's put it that way, to be honest.
So Rich Camarillo will send his 5th punt in skies over Veterans Stadium. And back at his own 25-yard line is a rookie out of Bo Schembechler's Wolverine program, Yvonne Cooper.
See, when I played, we called that Evan. E-V-A-N was Evan. Now it's Yvonne.
There's an exceptional punt by Camarillo, his best of the day. It's taken at the 15. And Cooper with the return to the 30. A 15-yard return following a 52-yard punt from that man. Tim Golden on the tackle.
Probably the biggest series for the Patriots right now. They have got to stop them if they want to be able to play this game and they want to win. They've got to stop them. We'll be right back.
Now Joe Pisarcik, who had for 4 years watched Ron Jaworski ply his trade here at Veterans Stadium. Since Jaworski went out with a broken leg a couple of weeks ago, Pisarcik has come on, Dave, played very well last week in his first starting role in some 5 years. Has certainly built upon that here today. Out of the eye. Play action. Pisarcik being chased. And he completes it to Quick.
He's doing whatever it takes, and whatever he's doing it right today. That time the Patriots got a lot of pressure up the middle. They lost their outside containment. Pisarcik is able to roll. You'll see the pressure coming up the center here. He's got to roll up. There's 70 coming into your picture. But Kenneth Sims is caught inside. Pisarcik's able to roll away from the pressure. Throws it to Quick. That's what they have got to stop. They cannot allow Pisarcik to continually complete those passes. They've got to make a stand here soon.
Well, Quick on the day, 6 catches for 84 yards. That is the 12th first down for the Eagles. And Montgomery's coming through the right side and won't go very far. What a stop by Tippett. Oh, my goodness.
I think he picked Wilbert Montgomery. 56 Tippett picked Wilbert Montgomery right up in the air. Just took him right off the, didn't give an inch. Picked him right up and dumped him in a pile.
That shouldn't surprise you. This man is a second-degree black belt in karate, Andre Tippett.
Well, watch him in the left part of your screen. Let's see if we can see him pick up Wilbert Montgomery, the tail end here. He's coming into your picture. There he is. Now watch. Watch Wilbert come up.
Oh!
That's what you call a body slam.
Like a Yokozuna in sumo wrestling. Pisarcik, look at that throw. That is Kenny Jackson, the rookie out of Penn State.
Yes, Penn State. Watch the emotion on Pisarcik. I cannot believe he's running up to the line of scrimmage when he breaks the huddle. He just knows he's having a great day. He's hitting his wide receivers, getting the play. Watch him when he comes out of the huddle. You know, most quarterbacks walk up to the line. He's jogging up to the line. He's just excited out there. It's got to be a great opportunity to him because he's been a journeyman quarterback for so long. He's just excited about the opportunity.
Well, he spent 3 years, I recall, I believe, in the CFL.
Yeah, he played up in, I believe, Calgary.
You're right. And then he spent a few years with the Giants, 3 to be exact, before coming over to the Eagles in 1980. 3rd down and 1. Oliver and Hardy, the running backs. Play action.
There's our man, Mr. Tippett again.
Well, he fought off Leonard Mitchell, and you cannot fault Mitchell. He held Tippett out as long as he could.
Certainly did.
The 3rd sack for the Patriots today. And on comes Michael Horan to kick it away. Irving Fryer back inside his own 20. That is the 2nd sack for Tippett this afternoon.
I'm waiting for Mr. Fryer to break a big one. He's got the speed. He's got the ability. I'm waiting for him to get loose on a pass pattern or get something. I'm waiting for the big play from the Patriots.
Well, he's got the speed. He's got the ability. And that time he almost had Major Everett in his face. Clock stops. 8:20 to play. 3rd period. Join us next week for a special Saturday edition of NFL football on NBC. The Seahawks battle the Denver Broncos. The Broncos seeking to avenge their earlier loss to the Hawks at Mile High. They'll be battling it out for the AFC Western Division title. It all starts at 3:30 Eastern with NFL 84 and Bob Costas. Again, remember, that's next Saturday right here on NBC. Eason, misdirection. James has it through the right side following Haley and Ron Wooten. Still on his feet across the 27 out to the 28. Wes Hopkins applies the hurt.
And James is hurt. He come out of that huddle limping off of that tackle. He kind of got thrown, and he's got 90 yards rushing, so he's done his part today, but he got hurt on that play. Phil, I keep on getting the feeling that they're just going to go to Stanley Morgan because of that speed. I've watched him several times come off the ball, and he's been open. If they get the time to throw, as we watch James here on that misdirection, let's see if we can see where he gets hurt. He twists his knee late in this pile here. Let's see if we can see right at, well, we just didn't get a chance, but I just get the feeling that they're going to keep on coming back to Stanley Morgan.
Yeah, that was Tony Collins in for the hurt Craig James. Lag is down.
That's going to be an interesting one because it's going to be offensive face mask, something that you never see.
Now they're going to back it up against the Patriots, and that stops the clock with 7:34 to play in the third quarter.
Number 68 on the offense, still first down.
Darrell Haley, offensive face masking.
That's when you come off the line. The way you get that is you come off the line and you're blocking, and you extend your hands into his face mask and actually force his head back and up. It's a whale of a block. Oh, boy.
Well, I'll tell you what, there is a big, big surprise. Kansas City laying it on the Hawks at Arrowhead. And keep in mind, that game next week here on NBC, Seattle and Denver at Seattle is going to be a whale of a ball game. Play action. Eason. He's there on it out, looking for Morgan. And Stanley had to come back for it and almost caught it.
That's the man I told you they were going to go to, Phil. The reason he didn't catch that ball is that it wasn't thrown far enough because Stanley Morgan easily had his defensive man beaten. He had beaten Albert Fowles and Ray Ellis to the corner. Watch him come off the ball. You'll see the speed. Now he's even with a defensive man there. Now he's got him beat. When he turns out, that ball's thrown now. Look how far he's out ahead. But see how he has to stop and come back? Oh, boy, if Mr. Eason had about another 5 yards, we'd be striking up the band.
Eason has yet to complete a pass this half. He is 0 for 3. Second down and 15. Collins coming out of the backfield. He has the ball. And he runs right around Ray Ellis and out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Jerry Robinson finally caught up with Tony.
Well, instead of a third down in about 7 or 8, it's going to be third down in 1 or 2.
Well, for Eason, he has just gone over the 3,000 yards mark this season. And becomes only the third Patriot quarterback to accomplish that task. Of course, Babe Parilli, Steve Grogan. The other two.
There's a story right there, the game, the possessions and the punts. That's been the big story. They've had to give up the ball.
Misdirection. Look at Eason taking a page out of Joe Pisarcic's playbook. And he gets the first down at the 39-yard line. That stops the clock, and while it stopped, we go to New York.
All right, Phil, at the Hoosier Dome, the Dolphins took the second half kickoff and narrowed the gap on the Colts. The drive culminated with Dan Marino's 41st touchdown pass of the year. 2 yards to Nat Moore, who had possession. So it's 17-14 Colts.
Thank you, Bill McAtee. We appreciate that score from the Dome in Indianapolis. Here at the Veterans Stadium, it is the Eagles over the Patriots 20-10. Pittsburgh over Cleveland, but the Browns coming back. St. Louis leading the Giants 21-14. There's the give right up the gut. Collins is finally caught by Reggie Wilkes. Now the Patriots, Dave, you go all the way back to the first drive. They took the opening kickoff, went the length of the field. Tony Franklin field goal made it 3-0 New England. Since then, all has been quiet for the most part.
It certainly has. They've controlled the ball, and they've done a good job moving the ball, but they're not moving it what we call in the so-called trade, the 4-down area. That's inside the 30-yard line. You've got to be able, once you get to that 30-yard line,
You've got to be able to drive it in for a score, and that's not what they've done. They've not been able to, once they get into that range, they haven't been able to come up with a big play.
Misdirection. Collins again. For the Patriots offensive line, Haley Wooten on the right side absolutely blew Dennis Harrison off the ball.
They did blow him off the ball, but the thing that's interesting here is that the Patriots have not panicked. They're still in this game. Even though they're down 10 points, a lot of teams will change their philosophy. As we watch Collins here, look at the big guys out in front. There's Holloway pulling out there, and he just runs over top of the defensive secondary.
Incidentally, Dave, the word on Craig James, a twisted left knee. He is likely to return. Collins, 5 carries, 36 yards, and here he comes again.
Phil, this is a game of opportunities. We saw the opportunity that Joe Pisarcik has taken over Jaworski. He's come in and played. Now Tony Collins is coming in and playing well.
Now there you see the score that Bill McAtee brought us up to date on just a moment ago. Cincinnati trying to keep its slim playoff hopes alive, leading the Saints. And it is Tampa Bay all over the Falcons, 20-6. 5 minutes and 17 seconds to play in the third quarter. Eason. It hit Joel Williams' hands, and just for a moment interrupted the timing of Stanley Morgan.
Boy, Eason knows that he escaped with one there, because that could have been strike up the band, as we said, the other way. He has to dump this ball over top of Joel Williams. You'll see Williams come into your picture. He's got to drop it over top of him, and you can see it touch the hands there. That was a great play by Joel Williams.
Eason, 6 completions, 17 attempts, 98 yards, and a touchdown.
Well, if I was going to call a play here, I know it's 3rd down and 3, but I think you've either got to do something conservative to get that first down. You've got to come out to Tony Collins.
Oh, you called it. Collins hit once, hit twice, and dives for the first down.
What a hit Tony Collins took. You talk about a crunch. I want you all to watch, you being the fans, watch Tony Collins here. He never loses his balance. And if you want to see what it's like to run the NFL, this is it. Everything is misdirection, that little hitch step. Now watch, he knows he's got to get 3 yards for that first down. There's the head down. Now watch this. Boom. Look at that crunch. But he doesn't lose his balance. And there's that red streamer out there, and he picks up the first down. That's quite a run.
From the 26-yard line, the Patriots trying to get close to the Eagles. They're down 20-10. Collins again across the 19, near the 18 and down. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WBZ TV4 Boston.
4 minutes, 3 seconds to play in the third period. The situation is this: Philadelphia leading the New England Patriots 20-10. If the Patriots do not win today, it's Jingle Bells.
Be home for Christmas.
That's exactly right. 2nd down and 2. To Tupu. To the 14 and a first down. Well, even if the Patriots are able to win, their playoff hopes could possibly be alive for just about 24 hours.
Yeah, the Raiders are going to play, of course, Detroit on Monday night. But they could lose that game. Detroit has played fantastic on national television. They have played very, very well when they've had big games.
And they play well at the Silverdome.
And there's a limping Craig James. How about that name, Jesse Craig James? I wonder if he was named after Jesse James.
3:06 to play, third quarter. Clock is running. Ramsey in motion to give us right up the middle. Look at Tupu. Fumbles the ball. And the Patriots score a touchdown on it. It is covered by Cedric Jones.
I always say I'd rather be lucky than I would be good. And Cedric Jones comes up with probably one of the biggest plays that he'll come up with in a long while, because Mosi Tupu fumbles the ball on the last part of that run. Jones recovers it, and you can see an upset Swamp Fox over there, Marion Campbell. He is upset.
Well, 4 years ago, Cedric Jones was the leading scorer in the Atlantic Coast Conference while playing for Duke. And I'll tell you what, I'll bet he had no bigger touchdown than he scored right there, because the Patriots are now within 4 of the Eagles. Franklin can reduce it to 3, and he does it. So the clock is stopped with 2:56 to play in the third period. And oh, what a run by Tutupu.
Tutupu comes into your screen. You'll see him, number 30, bounce through the line. Now watch the shot he takes on the end here. He gets hit right there. He doesn't lose a bounce. Now that's a good shot. But watch right here in the end. He gets stripped. He gets hit from the back. You can see the ball come out right there. The ball comes out. And watch number 83, Cedric Jones, come cover that ball. An awfully big touchdown.
So the Eagles will have the ball in a moment with 2:56 to play in the third. Franklin is all set to boot it away. Andre Waters and Yvonne Cooper, Ray Ellis all standing back inside the 5-yard line. Again, a short kick this time. It is Andre Waters at the 11. And he moves the ball out across the 27, out near the 30-yard line, a 20-yard return.
Bill, here's the big play. Of course, the run by Mosi Tutupu. You can't fault that. Watch number 4. Now watch number 30 here. Now this is just a great run. He gets hit. You'll see 47 Ellis come into your picture, and he just turns around. He drops the ball. Now there's the fumble, and look at the heads-up play by Cedric Jones, number 83. What a heads-up play.
Well, the clock is stopped again. We'll take a break. Be back to the vet.
Well, Phil, I want to tell you, when I played here as a Raider, they never welcomed me, but it's nice to see the Eagles are welcoming me today, and you, and of course the rest of this NBC crew.
Well, the only reason they're welcoming you is because you hang around with me.
That's funny.
When you hung around, see, with Flores and Stabler and the band of misfits with the Raiders, nobody talked to you. Pisarcik going downfield for Mike Quick. He has 6 catches on the day, trying for number 7, and Pisarcik just misses. Good coverage by Ernest Gibson. Now the Patriots went a long way, and they came up with a touchdown. Mosi Tutupu carried it about 10 yards before he fumbled the ball. It was 83 yards in 12 plays.
And 11 of those plays were, of course, on the ground. They only completed 1 pass on that drive. And that was the big thing. The Patriots did not panic. They came out and they drove the ball down the field.
Yeah, the Saints there you saw coming back against the Bengals. Pisarcik. Yeah, they won't unload that time. Dennis Owens, his 4th time Pisarcik has been down.
Well, now there's another guy there. I want you to look at number 85. That's Julius Adams. Now he told me, you know, he's one of the oldest. He's the oldest defensive lineman that starts in the NFL or plays in the NFL. And now he's not old, but he told me he sold the tools to Noah when he built the ark. So Julie's a great guy.
He probably knew the animals on a first name basis.
Yes, he sure did. 14 years he's played.
3rd down and 18 from the 23. Eagles will go out of the shotgun. Looking for Tony Woodruff, and he cannot find him. So on comes Michael Horan.
Oh boy, you know who it's got to be. It's got to be Dan Marino.
You're right.
21-17. How about Dan Marino to Hardy? 2-yard pass. Well, a 2-yard pass. You know, he had to resort to a short one once in a while.
Marino's 2nd touchdown pass of the afternoon at the Hoosier Dome.
But you know, the Indianapolis Colts were 17-point underdogs. That shows that nobody quits in this league. Everybody plays hard all 16 games.
Horan, not a good punt, but gets the good bounce. It hits one of the Eagles, and it is covered there at the 39-yard line. So the clock will stop with 1:56 to play of the third quarter. And again, the Patriots, who are down 20-10 at halftime, pardon me, 17-10 at halftime, are now down by 3. It is 20-17. Well, it began in such a fashion that you had to believe the Patriots were going to just run all over the Philadelphia Eagles. It was take the opening kickoff, go the length of the field, and score a field goal. But, oh, I'll tell you, the Eagles certainly do not look like a ball club that is 5-8-1.
Well, of course, 3 of those 8 losses have been by only a point. We talked about that.
That's Collins, and he is met at the line by Joel Williams.
Phil, the most impressive thing to me is that a lot of people think these late games in the season that players quit. You know, they're playing out the street. They want to be home for Christmas, and they realize that there's not going to be any playoffs for them. But I'll tell you, these are professional players. They want to play. They realize that a lot rides next year. A lot of that next year's season rides on these last few games because coaches get great indications of just how much heart a player has. And neither one of these teams have any quit in them.
Ken Clark. Hello, Tony Collins.
Well, Guy Morris has done a pretty good job on Ken Clark until this play. You can see Ken Clark took a side and he just drove in there. But Guy Morris, the 12-year veteran, has played very well against Ken Clark. He's handled him fairly well. We haven't heard his name mentioned an awful lot. This is going to be the big passing down here.
Third and 10. Starring Cedric Jones, Stanley Morgan, the wide receivers. Eason trying to get around the blitz. He cannot get around Greg Brown.
Well, the Eagles are celebrating, of course. That time, now that's the offensive line sack because they've sacked the quarterback 3 times a day. But the pocket just collapsed around Eason. He had nowhere to go, nowhere to step up, and he just had to take the ball down. That's 50 sacks that they've allowed.
That's awesome.
50 sacks they have, excuse me, that the Eagles have this year.
And Greg Brown, you can't say enough about the job he has done. In his 4th year out of Kansas State, he was filling some pretty big shoes coming into 1984.
Oh, boy, he sure has. He replaced, of course, Carl Hairston, who played for so many years with such success.
Avon Cooper runs into his own man and is finally taken out of bounds by somebody in red slacks. A 46-yard punt and a 9-yard return.
And I want you to look at the guy with the headset on there. That's Steve Grogan, and he was kind of pretending that he was going to give him a forearm there. He's saying, boy, I would have killed him if it had been me out there. They're all the time, look, I would have killed him.
Well, Steve Grogan was the starting quarterback for the first 2 games, and then it was time to see what someone else could do. Things were not going well. And Eason has certainly responded.
He's played excellent football for them. They just need a few key positions, and they'll be a very, very good football team.
Hubie Oliver. And that is it. The gun signifying the end of the 3rd period. The score, the Eagles 20, the Patriots 17. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. As you can see, it has been a seesaw affair all afternoon long as you look at Marion Campbell on the right, a guy who not only wears the hat of the head coach, but still remained as the defensive coordinator, a position he held for 6 years with this organization.
And there's the coach on the other side, of course, Raymond Berry. What a tremendous receiver for the Baltimore Colts. He really knows what this game is all about.
2nd down and 8. Montgomery. I believe he has the 1st down as he is near the 44-yard line. Steve Nelson and Ronnie Lippett on the stop.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Prudential Bates Securities, where account executives provide total financial planning. And by Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
The Eagles have the ball. They own a 3-point lead. And through the line comes Wilbert Montgomery.
Well, if you're a Patriot fan now, you've got to stop them. You've got to call your defense. They've played well today. They've held their opposition.
The AFC Central Division.
Points, Phil, but they've got to stop the team. They can't allow the touchdown. They can't even allow the field goal. They have. Ouch. How about that one? Cleveland, Pittsburgh. There's another one. Kansas City really piling it on Seattle.
Chuck Knox has got to be tearing his hair out.
Oh, boy, that makes
City.
This next Saturday game even more exciting.
My goodness, and you'll see it here on NBC from the Kingdome in Seattle. The Broncos and the Seahawks. Here comes Montgomery again. He is hit at the line, bounces off and carries to the 42. Ken Sims, the first guy to hit him, and that's a big guy to be bouncing off of.
He certainly did. Wilbur looked like he ran right up the back of Ken Sims. He just can't. Watch Wilbur Montgomery. You'll see him come right off the ground here. Now watch. He just comes right off the ground, but he comes right back down on his feet. That's a great mark of a great receiver when you have, runner, when you have that balance and you can come down on your feet. So many running backs just lose it in those positions.
That's something you see defensive players doing more and more of. Nobody's making arm tackles anymore. They're more or less trying to block tackle. Sims could easily have put his hands out and grasped him.
Absolutely. That's what you've got to do. That's what coaches call wrapping them up. They yell at you all during preseason. Wrap them up. Wrap them up. Get those arms around them. Pull them down. We used to make tackles. Some of the greatest tackles I ever made were like by a sock, by a belt loop, things like that. You do anything you can just to hold on.
Clock running. We're in the fourth period. 12 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the ball game. And the Eagles holding on to a 20-17 lead in a game that New England, if they want to stay alive in the dash for the cash, they've got to find a way to win. Pisarcik. Again, it is Montgomery. He's going through the left side, and he'll get very little. Maybe a yard, possibly two.
It's going to be interesting to see what Pisarcik does in this situation. So many times he's pulled off the big play that nobody's been waiting for. The quarterback reverse, the quarterback run, the naked reverse, those type of plays. But right now, he's got a third down and 6 yards. There's the statistics on Wilbert Montgomery, 78 yards rushing.
His high for the year, very uncharacteristic of Wilbert Montgomery, 98 yards earlier this year versus the Vikings. Third down and 4 from the 36. Montgomery is now out of the ball game. It is caught. Kenny Jackson off the fingertips and into Tony Woodruff's hands.
Now, a couple of years ago, this would have been an incomplete pass because it had been a double tip by a wide receiver. But they changed that rule. Remember the big play back a few years in the Super Bowl when John Mackey caught that for Baltimore in the '71 Super Bowl. You'll see the pass is thrown here. It's going to be tipped. And Kenny Jackson, number 81, well, we're going to just see Pisarcik get hit there. But Kenny Jackson plays the tip, comes up with the tip, and they kept possession. That would have been an incomplete pass. Is that Woodruff come up with the ball? Excuse me, I said Kenny Jackson, but
Kenny Jackson tipped it.
Oh, Jackson tipped it. Okay.
Pisarcik, he's going for it all, and quick, running a post pattern. I believe Pisarcik thought he was going to turn it back to the outside. That man right there, 16 of 23 now for 206 yards. Oh, what an afternoon for Joe Pisarcik.
Boy, he has had a day. Well, we know he hasn't thrown for 206 yards this year. I don't know when the last time he threw for 206 yards is.
So it is second down and 10 now from the New England 23-yard line. Now there you see the numbers I spoke of a moment ago. Still looking for his first touchdown pass of the day. He already has rushed for 1 touchdown this afternoon. Quick in motion. Spagnola, the tight end, is in the ball game, but Pisarcik won't have a chance to look for anybody because Toby Williams was all over him.
The thing that'll free you up faster as a defensive lineman is a twist inside the line. That's where one lineman comes inside, one comes around. Look at Toby Williams, number 90, come around that twist. He's got a straight shot at Pisarcik. That's a great picture of what a defensive stud is. Mark Denard did not drop back to pick up Toby. He's got him man-to-man. That pick, boy, I'll tell you, that's a great thrill for a defensive lineman.
Giants and the Cardinals tied at 21 all. Carpenter with a 1-yard run that tied it late in the third period. Pisarcik going for the flag.
Oh boy, he wants it this time. He wants the interference. Pisarcik is running down there calling for the face block. That's where you run up and you put your arms up in the face of the in the offensive receivers. But the play right there by number 43, Ernest Gibson, was perfect. He didn't put the hands up in the face of the wide receiver. Let's watch it here as Pisarcik tries to drop the ball over. And let's see if in fact Gibson puts up his hands. Watch right there. He puts a hand right there. He did not face guard. That's an excellent call by a referee.
McFadden from 48 yards away. He is 2 for 2 today from 50 and 46 yards. Oh, this has plenty of distance. But in wide to the right. So the Eagles unable to capitalize. The Patriots with life. 9:59 to play on this ball game. New England down by 3. They'll have the football when we come back. There's the situation. The Eagles with the 3-point edge over the Patriots with 9 minutes and 59 seconds to play. McFadden, the missed field goal a moment ago. And here comes Tony Eason and the red, white, and blue offense. Joel Williams met Craig James in the backfield and dropped him for a loss.
Boy, did he ever meet him in the backfield. They are getting such penetration, you can't even get the line of scrimmage before they're in the backfield.
Well, keep in mind, Craig Williams is playing with a sprained left knee. I quite frankly, Dave, am surprised he's back in this ball game, particularly when Tony Collins had run so effectively on the Patriots last series. I think I said Williams. I mean Craig James.
Craig James, yes.
But he remains in the ball game. He is the lone setback. Morgan comes to the near side along with Cedric Jones. It's me, but it appears as if James is running a little gingerly on that left leg.
Yes, he doesn't look like he's running as hard as he did. You know, I've been watching John Hanna, and I told John all during the game, before the game, I was talking with him. I said, John, you got to do something exciting for me to get to mention your name and say hello to Paige and Seth, and they have a little girl too. And John, you haven't done anything. Come on, big guy. I used to play across from John Hanna, number 73. And I'm going to tell you, getting down when he was mad and he got down there, his nostrils looked like a 2-car garage. They were so big.
3rd down and 9. Patriots, big play.
Well, I hate to say it, but he did something that time. The hog missed a block.
51 sacks by the Eagle defense.
They got to Mr. Eason in a hurry. 4 sacks today.
Well, not only do you take your offense off the field trailing by 3 with inside 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, Dave, but you just about guarantee the Eagles with outstanding field position.
Unless he gets off a whale of a punt, they're going to have the ball close to midfield. Something they certainly did not want to do.
Good snap. Camarillo lets it sail. That is Yvonne Cooper at the 28. To the 38 and smashed there by Guy Morris. Oh, did Morris get a lick in?
He certainly did.
47-yard punt.
Oh, yeah. Well, a 12-yard return. That's not too bad.
The clock stops with an even 8 minutes remaining in this ball game. The Eagles will have the ball. They have a 3-point lead. Well, Philadelphia Eagle fans that turned out for today's game at Veterans Stadium have seen their ball club play an outstanding game against a team that came in today knowing they had to win and certainly still have a shot at winning. The Eagles up by 3 with 8 minutes to play. It is 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line, and now Pisarcik sees something he doesn't particularly care for.
That's a big wasted timeout for Pisarcik. It's funny that he didn't come out and just run a play, but evidently he saw something he didn't like.
I think what he saw was some of these cheerleaders in these silver pants. Couldn't figure out what to do here. We'll be back in a moment. So from the 40-yard line, Pisarcik apparently has things squared away. I think what he did, he got the cheerleaders to stop cheering.
Had something in his eye.
Montgomery. Now he won't get a bunch. He moves it 2 yards to the 42. Wilbert on the day, 16 carries for 80 yards. There's the situation with 7 minutes and 44 seconds to play. 2017 here, Pittsburgh leading the Browns 20-13 in the 4th period. Look at this one. The Giants in St. Louis deadlocked at 21 in the 4th quarter. And Cincinnati stepping it out again over the New Orleans Saints at the Superdome, 24-14. Second down and 7 from the 43. Pisarcik to Quick, and it hit Ray Claiborne right in the hands.
I've seen an awful lot of slipping on this side of the field from about the numbers on out. That field is very cold. It had a lot of rain this past week here, and maybe really slippery, just a little bit frozen along this sideline, because we're really not getting the sun inside the stadium. This stadium being a kind of a closed stadium, you really don't get the sun to warm it up.
I can't believe this score. Kansas City, who will go into San Diego next Sunday, all over the Seahawks, 31-7 in the third period at Arrowhead Stadium.
That's when you just kind of walk up and say, we got to go get them next week, boys.
Now you wonder if perhaps the Seahawks were looking ahead to Denver next week. Pisarcik, he's going for it. And there'll be no interference. Woodruff began to lose his footing at the 10-yard line.
He did. He's complaining a little bit, but what really happened on that, the ball was so high that it gave the time for the defensive secondary to so react to the ball. Sanford came back into the play, as did the cornerback that was covering him, and there was really no interference whatsoever on that play.
Michael Horan is back on. And he gets a beauty. Irving Fryer loses the ball, and it goes out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Oh, did the Eagles get a break?
Well, Phil, if he hadn't knocked it out of bounds, himself, the ball probably would have carried out of bounds, because the direction of that ball, that was as well as you can ever kick towards the coffin corner. Just a fantastic kick, 56-yard punt. It goes out of bounds on the 1-yard line, but I believe it would have gone out even though he hadn't caught the ball.
Horan is a left-footed punter. All punt receivers, 99% of the time you receive a punt, it's going to be from a right-footed punter. Is there any difference at all in the spin of the ball, Dave?
Well, yes, the spin of the ball is completely opposite, but the thing that really makes it hard is that the ball seems to rotate or fade away from you. You're used to catching that ball coming in, say, right to left, and all of a sudden you see it going left to right. It's kind of like seeing a curveball from a right-hand pitcher and then seeing a curveball from a left-hand pitcher. It's still a curveball, but it's a different ball.
I think there are only 2 other left-footed punters in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Ron Stark is one.
Boy, he almost made a fatal mistake on that ball, because had he thrown that ball out of bounds in the end zone, it would have been a touchback, or a safety, I should say. He came very close to throwing that ball out of bounds in the end zone, which would have been a safety. He only threw a 1-yard pass. Mr. Eason, don't do that again.
6 minutes and 58 seconds to play. The ball at the 1-yard line. The Patriots need some points, and they're 99 yards away.
I'd go out there to Mr. Stanley Steamer and see what he can do.
The give right up the gut. That's Tony Collins, and he is hit by the nose tackle, Ken Clark. I'm surprised not to see John Spagnuolo a little more in this game, particularly after last week. As I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, he certainly has not been a factor for the Eagles.
But they haven't needed him, because they lead this game 20-17.
And on the other side of the coin, Lynn Dawson has not been a big factor either for the for the New England Patriots. He has been a big factor early in this game, but the tight ends have not played well today. They really haven't been a factor in the game.
Eason this half 1 for 6. Oh, he had Morgan. He had Morgan, and he couldn't hit him. Camarillo is coming on. He will not have much room to get this punt on.
Well, it really compounds the problems of the Patriots, because he's going to be punting deep in his own end zone. He's going to be punting from about 11 yards off the line of scrimmage, where you normally are 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. If it's any type of a bad snap, he's not going to be able to get the ball off.
If you're the Eagles defensive unit, Dave, would you go for this punt with a 3-point lead?
I'd go for the punt. I'd try to block it, because I know I'm going to get the ball inside the 50-yard line. So I would have everybody up there. I'm surprised if he had any guts at all, he'd throw it out here, because I see Lippert stand out there all by himself. Now they go out and cover him.
It's blocked. It is blocked.
is there a lot of adulation here in Philadelphia. The crowd loves it.
Wes Hopkins with the block. An outstanding special teamer.
You're going to see him come from the left part of your screen. Number 48, Wes Hopkins. He blocked the ball almost before he even got the ball even near his foot. The big play was that the ball was only 11 yards off the line of scrimmage, and it just doesn't give the punter the time to step back there. It shortens that distance. It makes it much quicker. The punter takes 3 or 4 steps, so he actually closes about 3 or 4 yards. He's only kicking 7 or 8 yards from the line of scrimmage.
This is Camarillo's 4th year in the NFL. It was the first time he has had a punt block. First and goal from the 4 for the Eagles. Pisarcik. Intended for Vito Cab, and it is overthrown, and wisely so.
Absolutely, it was well covered. But the big play right here, if you're a Patriot, is that you've got to stop the touchdown. You don't mind the field goal because a touchdown will win for you.
Good point.
But you cannot give up the touchdown in this situation. You give the field goal up, that's only 3 points. It's 6 points down. You can drive the length of the field and score.
Now Miami beginning to open it up over the Indianapolis Colts 28-17 in a game that Indy led all the way into the second quarter and into the third period.
Well, I saw Marino just got another pass. What's that, about 100 he has now?
Here at Veterans Stadium, the Eagles up by 3. It is second down and goal from the 4. Pisarcik wants to go to the air again. And again, he throws it out of bounds and looking for Spagnuolo, the man we spoke of a moment ago.
Absolutely. That's the person that you pointed out. We talked about the tight ends not being a big part in the game, and you were absolutely right, Phil. They have not been able to get the ball to Spagnuolo. It's going to bring up third down and the 4 or 5 yards. I was really surprised that they didn't try to drive it in. We use up the clock.
Look here, look here. The Cardinals over the Giants 28-21.
Is anybody going to win that division?
It is unbelievable. Anderson has just scored to break that 21-21 tie. 5 minutes, 53 seconds to play here in Philadelphia.
This is the monumental play for the Eagles. They've got to stop them here. Pisarcik got hurt on the play. He's down. He's obviously hurt. He dove in. He just threw his body to the wind on this play. And this is one of those days you say, golly, make him throw it. Don't allow him to run it. Because he's had a tremendous day. He scored 2 touchdowns, and he is obviously hurt.
And Dean May, a rookie out of Louisville, has just thrown his warm-up jacket off on the far sideline. He's going to get loose.
Watch this play. Now watch how Pisarcik, you talk about throwing all caution to the wind. Watch right here. He's going to dive in the end zone. Now watch. Look at that. Bam. He takes a whale of a hit. That's just not an average quarterback. You always tell your quarterbacks, don't run. Get rid of the ball. Throw it off.
Ernest Gibson, the guy applying the shot as Pisarcik went airborne. Dave, go all the way back to 1977. The New York Giants, Joe Pisarcik, scored 2 touchdowns the entire year. And that was his tops. Today, Pisarcik, 7 years later, wearing the silver and green of the Philadelphia Eagles, has scored his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon.
Well, I know he's had some great days in his career, but this has got to be one of the highlights. To come in here, everybody has written the Eagles off because of Jaworski being hurt. And listen to this crowd react to Jaworski getting up and walking off the field. They're happy to see it. But that young man right there has played his heart out today.
I'll tell you, when you talk about football fans across America, these fans here in Philadelphia, at times some of the cruelest, but I'll tell you what, there's no question they are extremely knowledgeable fans, and they appreciate a job well done.
Well, our great camera crew, you can see how hard he hit his back of his head on the ground. He really hit the ground. I think he's more shook up than he is physically hurt.
So with 5:45 to play in this ball game, the Eagles have stretched it out now. They lead by 9. Paul McFadden on to try and make it a 10-point game, but he'll have a new holder here.
You know, you talked about the fans and how cruel sometimes they can be, and I played for a lot of years, and I know that New England has had a lot of fan criticism, but I'll tell you this. They have some of the greatest fans, and of course they have some detractors, but I played up in New England, and I remember the likes of old Normie Bolduc over there from Plymouth.
Sure.
And oh, golly, Bob Allen from up there in New Hampshire. Great fans. fans, and I take my hat off to the fans in New England. They got some great fans.
Dean May, the backup quarterback, the rookie out of Louisville, got it down, and McFadden sent it through. So with 5:45 to play, it is the Eagles again by 10. Patriots need some points in a hurry. Well, a year ago, it was the rookie Irving Pryor, while still at Nebraska. The drop pass against Clemson. Today, a muff punt at the 4-yard line. He couldn't hold on to this thing.
This little pigskin's got points on either end. But the thing that happens is that was a left-handed punt. That ball seems to fade. Most of them rotate clockwise, and they come down into your left hand. When he kicked that ball tends to fade away, and he lost the ball, as you said, on the 1-yard line. It's the biggest play of the game because they weren't able to get 3 or 4 yards. They got the punt blocked, and of course it's changed the complexion of this game immensely.
McFadden lets it fly. It is Collins at the 7. He brings it across the 32. You know, you go all the way back, and it is a play in the Orange Bowl, Clemson and Nebraska, that Irving Pryor will live with his entire life, and is something that I'm sure he just as soon like to forget, the dropped pass that would have brought Nebraska to victory. But it is something that will stay with him, and I'm sure today's muff punt at the 1-yard line is something he will remember for a while.
He will remember that, but I'll tell you this. I know one thing about people with the talent of Irving Pryor. They will be playing in this game a long, long time, and they'll have many, many accolades and many, many great moments that will far outweigh the bad ones.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. On first down, Eason stepping in. It is caught. Stanley Morgan at the midfield stripe, and it is Wes Hopkins who covers him.
Well, Stanley got his head down just in time. You know, Wes Hopkins has a great reputation for coming up and really hitting these fellows from their secondary position. He and Ray Ellis have played really strong there in the middle. They come up and they really make those wide receivers pay when they catch that ball over the middle.
The word on Pisarcik, he has an injured back, nothing serious. He is expected to return. Collins through the right side. I'm a bit surprised that the Patriots aren't going to keep that ball in the air.
Well, you almost have to keep the ball in the air. It is really surprising as we only have about 5 minutes left in the game, but you never know when you're going to break that run. You know, you just got to get out there and you just got to kind of root around a little bit, but they've got the time. They've got 5 minutes left in the game. Well, 4:40 and we're counting, but I was surprised to see that also.
Raymond Berry watching his team. They are down by 10. If the Patriots lose, you can forget about the playoffs. Eason looking for it all. Morgan wide open.
Here in Philadelphia, to say the least.
It is Wes Hopkins, his 5th interception of the year, his 3 in the last 2 games, Dave.
Well, he's got Stanley Morgan. You can see the height of the ball. That's the thing that causes the interception. It gave him the time to recover because Wes Hopkins came from about 10 to 12 yards away. If we can look at that again, you'll see how high the ball is in the picture. Stanley Morgan had his man beat tremendously to the post. He was 7 or 8 yards. If that ball had been more of a line drive type ball, that would have been an easy touchdown.
It would have been a gimme.
It would have been a gimme.
He was wide open. You're absolutely right, Dave. He had his defender beat by 7 yards. Hubie Oliver takes the A train to the 38-yard line. Dean May. This is the first action he has seen in the NFL. A year ago, he was throwing footballs for the Louisville Cardinals.
The Louisville Cardinals know him well. Ouch, how about that one?
Oh, Cleveland has come back. Pittsburgh has led all day long. Paul McDonald, a 3-yard run midway through the 4th period, and they are deadlocked at Three Rivers. It appears as if the wind has been taken out of the Patriots' defensive sails.
It certainly has been. They've answered a call all day long. They've been put in tough field position But that touchdown pass that was not caught really has taken, as you said, all the wind out of their sails, because that was a sure touchdown. Had that been a line drive pass or anything like that, that would have been a touchdown. No doubt about it. Stanley had them beaten to the post. It should have been 7 points for the Patriots.
2 minutes and 53 seconds to go. 2nd down and 1. Oliver, flag is down. Well, we showed you the score. Pittsburgh and Cleveland tied at 20. Cincinnati up by 1 over the Saints. Should the Steelers lose today and the Bengals win, it would all come down to next Sunday. And if Cincinnati would win again and Pittsburgh would lose to the Raiders,
Number 65 on the offense. Still 2nd down.
the Bengals would be the AFC Central Division champions. Boy, Pittsburgh, I was in Houston last week doing that Houston Steelers game, D. And I'll tell you, it appeared as if the Steelers just didn't care about winning that game.
Well, they've had a lead all season long. I remember they had a 5-game lead after like 7 games, and everybody said, oh, they're a shoo-in. But they've just been nibbling away at that every week. And Cincinnati has come on and really turned their team around. They have really played well in the latter part of the season.
Joe Pisarcik is back on at quarterback for Philadelphia. Montgomery. Pop 2, 3 times. And leading the Chargers, Larry McGrew. Can't say enough about number 9, Joe Pisarcik, his 8th year out of New Mexico State. It all began in Calgary, a 3-year apprenticeship there, and then it was off to the New York Giants. And then 4 years ago, it was board the bus for Philadelphia.
Well, he's been around, that's for sure. But if he's played well today, if he can continue playing as well as he has today, he's got a great future here, because they need a quarterback to back up, of course, Jaworski.
We're at the 2-minute warning. The clock stops. The officials will notify both benches. Eagles 27, Patriots 17. Now here comes another one of those fantastic finishes. Pisarcik on the day, 16 of 29. His numbers over 200 yards. Looking for that first touchdown pass. Has thrown 1 interception. But a big number is not even on that board. He has run for 2 touchdowns today.
Well, he's been the heart of this team today. He has really, you know, as I said, everybody wrote the Eagles off when Jaworski was hurt. This fellow's come in, and he has really been just an inspirational leader. His attitude, his whole approach, he's run up to the line. He's been the whole story today. He's been the difference in the ball game.
3rd down and 10. Inside handoff, Montgomery, sweep left. Short of the first down by 1.5 yards. Ron Blackman had a shot at him in the backfield, but the interference running out in front of Wilbert took Blackman right out of the play.
That's what you call the schoolhouse left. Everybody runs to the left. It's going to bring up a 4th down in about 1 yard situation. It's not over yet. I'll say that. There's 1 minute and 39, 1 minute and 40 seconds as we watch that. On that run, by the way, Wilbert Montgomery went over 100 yards, something he hasn't done in a long while.
Since last year, in fact. His biggest output of the year had been against the Vikings earlier when he rushed for 98 yards. I want to thank our spotters here at the Vet. Bill Friel and Jim Gallagher, our stats man Danny Green. There you see the Giants trailing the Cardinals now 31-21 in the 4th quarter. And just about 4 minutes left in that game. So 4th down and 1. Mike Horan is on. He will boot it away. And it is Irving Fryer back at the 14-yard line.
Well, now's the time, if you're Mr. Fryer, you've got an opportunity to maybe make up for that fumbled punt. You never know what he might do. As we said, he certainly has the talent and the ability. He looks over to end zone and says, I hope he doesn't kick over that corner again.
His longest return this year has been 55 yards. Wouldn't he like to blast this one back? High punt will make this difficult for a long return. At the 4-yard line, again it goes out of bounds because Fryer cannot hold on.
There's that fade from that left-handed punter again. He did it twice in a row. The ball seems to fade away from you when you're out there catching. You can see the ball as it comes down almost on his fingertips. The ball just seems as if he can never get a handle on it. Irving, you got to be upset. The old 48-yard punt, left-footed kicker, gets it out on what, the 4-yard line? Wouch.
The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Wiseman. The coordinating producer of NBC's football is Ted Nathanson. The telecast of our game today, produced by Steve Dans, directed by Lenny Stucker. Our technical director, Brian Russo. Eason. Right over the top. Derek Ramsey has it at the 13-yard line and down there. I also want to give a special thanks to our camera crew here today. It has been an outstanding group of folks. The pictures have been terrific, gentlemen, and we thank you. Eason again. Ducks one guy. Look out. That is a fumbled ball, and I believe the Eagles have it. No. They are saying now his arm was coming forward. Greg Brown hit Eason just as he tried to uncork.
Eason comes up limping. But now's the toughest time for this offensive line. They've got to block when, well, I'll tell you right now, you can put 250 pounds on your fingertips. You got 5 pounds on each foot if you're a defensive lineman, and you are taking off. You're not worrying about anything. All you're doing is flat out coming now.
Well, Eason on the day, it is an afternoon he would just as soon like to forget. 8 of 23, 125 yards, a touchdown and an interception. That's Ramsey. He has the first down and much more to the 32-yard line. Roynell Young on the stop. Clock continues to turn. Here at 45. There you see it, and it stops. While they move the chain gang. And now the Patriots will call a timeout. Well, it appears as if it is all over for 1984 and the New England Patriots. And I suppose if you're Ray Berry, you'll look back with a great deal of excitement as to what you've seen, and you also look ahead with a great deal of anticipation in terms of what you will see in 1985.
Well, in order to be fair to Raymond Berry, he really needs that preseason, that training camp to really get his policy all together, get his program going.
Join us next Sunday for the final week of the regular NFL season on NBC Sports. It's an NFL doubleheader. Our featured games center around the AFC Central Division. It's must-win time for Cincinnati as they take on the Buffalo Bills. Then a classic AFC rivalry is rekindled as the Steelers battle the LA Raiders at the Coliseum. It's coming down to the wire. NFL 84 with host Bob Costas will begin today with a look at the NFL playoff picture. And we'll keep you posted on all the scores around the league. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Your teams play right here next Sunday on NBC Sports. Again, Ramsey. Still on his feet, had a chance to get out of bounds and did not get there.
I'll tell you, it's a tough, tough time if you're a Patriot sitting on the bench. It's a lonely, lonely chair over there.
Eason steps up, going for the sidelines. It is caught. Morgan has it and is hit instantaneously by Brenard Wilson. For Stanley Morgan, his 5th catch, and that one took him over 100 yards. Stanley 102 yards today.
Well, we talked about a sad Patriot team, but you know they have got to be excited over in Philadelphia with the play of Pisarcik. He has really done the job today. I was just amazed at the enthusiasm that he had all day long. He completed, and when he didn't complete, he ran for touchdowns, something you don't see quarterbacks do too often.
I know a guy at Studio 6A in New York, the Axe, awfully happy with his selection.
Oh, yeah.
He picked the Eagles.
What can you say about Pete Axtell? He picks them all the time. When everybody says take the Patriots, he'll take the Eagles. If they say take the Eagles, he'll take the other one.
Ramsey's got it. And again, he is hit by Jerry Robinson. And the clock stops with 2 seconds left in the game.
Well, this is what you call the throw for pride. They'd love to get a touchdown here. They're going to have to throw it in the end zone. Derek Ramsey got hurt on that play.
But they're going to have to throw the ball into the end zone and see if they can come up with a big catch right here.
It appears as if Ramsey a bit shaken up on the play. He will be helped off the field. Now Philadelphia came in, the decisive underdog. Patriots knew they had to win, and then they would need all the help they could get. They needed the Raiders to lose their last two, which is quite unlikely to be realistic about it. So it was really an outside shot at best for New England anyway. Now Miami trailing going into the third period at Indianapolis. Dan Marino and company doing a jig on Frank Cush's bunch.
Good night. Has he thrown another touchdown pass today? How many does he have today? He's got
How about four? How about four?
Oh, that's just an average day for him, isn't it? You know, it's hard to believe he was, what, the 28th player, 27th player that was drafted?
The 6th quarterback.
6th quarterback. Wow.
I think that hurt his pride. I'll tell you, a team that had a shot at him and could have signed him is the LA Raiders, and they passed on him for an offensive lineman. 2 seconds remaining in the ball game.
Well, more so, it's 2 seconds left for the New England Patriots. Their season's over now.
In and out of the hands of Cedric Jones, and that is it. Next week, the Patriots will finish the 1984 season at Foxborough against the Indianapolis Colts. And for Ray Berry, it is a chance to really look ahead, see what you can do next week, and then, as you say, get into a training camp situation next year.
Well, they definitely have some inadequacies. They definitely need to fill some gaps. We see Tony Franklin there, of course, shaking Pisarcic's hand. And there's Marion Campbell. But the Eagles have got to be excited. But for the Patriots, they have got to analyze what their weaknesses are, what loses for them, what wins for them. And they've got to come up with some key players and key positions.
Well, how about that man right there? Joe Pisarcik, 16 of 29, and only his second start in 5 years, 205 yards, and he rushed for a pair of touchdowns. Pisarcik on the day, 5 carries for 20 yards. And I tell you, that was a beautiful bootleg in the second quarter.
Well, he paid the price on that run. He dove in the end zone. You can't say enough about him. He played outstanding today. He didn't play like he was a backup quarterback today.
And how about the lost running back in the Eagles backfield? Wilbert Montgomery, 19 carries, 100 yards. That does it. The Eagles over the Patriots, 27-17.